So I apologize in advance. I had the Yankees winning 7-2, and I got it wrong. They won 9-3. But regardless, the Yankees are back in the win column, like I think, Gary, you also felt was going to happen. Just felt like that type of game, kind of a get-right game before you head on to Boston. We'll see how right they are when they get to Boston. But, Gary, I think the two biggest things, they seem so obvious, but, we at Yankees Unloaded like focusing on the nuance. Everybody's going to talk about Aaron Judge, so we don't just spend tons of time talking about Aaron Judge for that reason. However, Aaron Judge has to be discussed tonight. 3 for 4, 2 home runs, was clearly feeling something tonight. I don't know what that could have been, but he looked back, and the MVP looks won if he's back. But him and Cam Schlittler, I think, were the two most important names today. Judge is the captain, comes away with 2 home runs in this game, right? And, you think about it, these are both huge. It basically is that kind of boost. Okay, Aaron Judge is making contact, making hard contact, and he's putting it in the seats, which he likes to do. Then you get Stanton hitting a home run. The biggest thing to me was Cam Schlittler, because this is somebody that faced the first time ever. He really faced some adversity. His last, in my opinion, start was the first time he's looked like a rookie, truthfully. And today, he absolutely shoved it against the Tigers. You can say it was a bullpen game all you want, but he wasn't going up against a bullpen game level lineup. It was the starters. It was Gleyber Torres leading off. It was, a Green, of course, and Torkelson. It was everybody. And what we saw from Cam Schlittler is a guy that can beat you with velocity, can beat you with stuff, go 6 innings, could have gone more in my opinion. But he is just so good with the pitch count. And I really feel like there's, I said this to Ariel Epstein. I was like, look, he's my number 3 starter in the postseason. He should be starting game 3, no doubt about it. The upside for him is enormous. And I still don't feel like he's gotten to where he can go, even in his rookie year. So, Gary, I guess I just want to get your thoughts on all that. But really, let's start with Cam Schlittler. I really want to dive into his start because this was sensational. And it gave the Yankees a really good run here because now Ryan Yarbrough goes 3 innings. Your bullpen wasn't used.
Yeah, and the elephant in the room is like, okay, well, what do you do with Luis Gil? Because Luis Gil also had a nice outing in his last trip out there. And honestly, when you talk about the upside of Cam Schlittler, they talk about the development, is that he's a strike thrower. I'm sorry, I can't go into October with a guy who has a good outing. Like I just said, his outing was good, and he walked, I believe, 4 guys. I can't see that in October. You're seeing the cream of the crop lineups, right? It's going to be the best of the best, everyone taking their best at-bats. They're going to be drawing walks. That's just a prerequisite to the Luis Gil experience. That doesn't mean he's a bad pitcher, but there's a time and place for everyone. And I just feel like regular season baseball, it's fine. If you want to walk guys, maybe we don't get length with you. Run prevention, and that's your calling card. But I just don't know if I want to pass the baseball to somebody who doesn't throw as many strikes as a Cam Schlittler does. Cam Schlittler is the 3rd most reliable guy we've got. And whether or not it's ideal that he's a rookie, it's probably not. But it's the choice you have to make. And I think Cam Schlittler, the development of a 3rd pitch, I know that cutter has now become polished. It's lights out. Either side of the plate doesn't matter. That get me over slider is gone. He now works that curveball in there, is nasty. And eventually you're going to start to see it when he misses location now. It is what you saw today, right? Throwing 0-2 fastballs, and it was more so in the middle of the plate. I think he's going to work some movement, laterally. He's going to look at how to get better as an arm. You can just tell he's improved immensely since the first time he stepped onto the mound. I know he's been a raw talent, and it's popped off the screen. I know I used Luis. I think I used Luis. Who did I use again? Do you remember? Severino, of just saying, oh, he's lighting up the radar gun. But Jake, when I look at this guy, I see maturity. I see a guy who can handle pitching in New York. And I don't exactly see that from everyone, even guys who have success with the Yankees. So for me, and by the way, I do see Carlos Rivera. Really appreciate that, man. Thank you for the gifted membership.
Thank you,
Gotta
Carlos.
love that. Much appreciated. When you're investing in other people's experience in this realm, we really appreciate that. So Carlos, thank you for that. And Ed W, we will get to everyone's super chats. But Jake, the verdict here on Cam Schlittler, I know the Yes broadcast was really starting to hone in on the career high of innings. I'm not concerned with that, to be honest with you. Unless I see a regression of stuff, that's not a concern of mine. Part of the reason why, like even into last year, I was talking about Marcus Stroman at 130 innings, because it sounds a little bit hypocritical here, but Marcus Stroman had shown signs that he goes off a cliff at that point. Cam Schlittler hasn't shown any signs of anything. So really like what I'm seeing. I'm proud of what he's doing. And what will it look like in October? We have no idea, but this is one of the teams you may see. So I guess test number 1's been passed.
Yeah, of course it has. I just think every time I watch him, he's learning. He's getting better. I mean, even in his bad start, he's still getting better. He's still learning, and I just don't think we've gotten to the point. Schlittler's going to throw like an 8-inning game soon. I'm telling you. I don't know if it's the next start or the start after that. We're going to see like an 8-inning outing, 2 hits, maybe like 6 Ks. Nothing crazy.
What makes you say
with the
that?
Ks.
Is it just because he's all over the zone and not nitpicking, or what is
He
it
doesn't
that
nibble.
you see? He doesn't nibble.
And
Isn't
unless-
it? It's nice to see that.
It's so nice. Unless you're going up against the Toronto Blue Jays, there's just not too many teams in the league that are going to make you pay for that.
That's
You know
fair.
what I mean?
Because 0-2, typically what you'll see, especially with the way the game used to be played, is okay, 0-1. You get ahead. That's mission number 1. Get ahead and strike 1. Now it's okay. You're 0-2. You're in a hole at this point. 0-2 is probably going to be some waste pitch, really something high or way in the dirt to set up something else. And really what you're going to see is the 1-2 pitch is now the put away pitch. I'm going to my money pitch. And Cam Schlittler's got good enough stuff. He doesn't need to waste any time. You saw the 0-2 pitch, and this was actually part of what I wanted to see with this start. I didn't say anything on Twitter. I wanted to save it for Yankees Unloaded. Is what's he going to look like at 0-2? Is it going to be, am I trying to pick the corner and throw the perfect pitch? Or am I trying to throw a competitive pitch? They may yield me an out that can keep me in this game longer. He went with option number B. Awesome. Absolutely love that. And that's a mature mentality. Something Carlos Rodon has also adopted. It's worked. It's gotten him deeper into games. And I'm glad we didn't have to wait till year 6 or 7 to finally have this conversation.
Yeah. And did you notice he threw 6 sinkers today? And 2 of his 13 whiffs came from sinkers. It's a pretty high percentage.
Trying to promote some level of contact. And when you throw 100 miles an hour, it's, I mean, let's be honest here, Jake. If you're sitting there, you're pitching in a game like this, what this game meant to the city, you're sitting there at home in pinstripes. You want to strike out 12, 13. That's what a young player would want to do. Certainly he'd want to do that. But how can I be of service to this group? Bullpen has been ravaged, not to be relied on whatsoever. And to look up and see Cam Schlittler is just taking it upon himself to go deeper into this game. So we don't have to throw 6 different dudes, see a Devin Williams, see a Mark Leiter Jr., right? See Tim Hill. Again, you don't want to do this. So why don't I do my job to the best of my ability with what my team needs? And this is part of the reason why I just think with Cam Schlittler, I just believe I trust him more in a tight situation to make adjustments on the fly, as opposed to the other arms that we have maybe in a Luis Heel. So obviously, bright days ahead for us. Probably not going to be available via trade this offseason. Now that we've seen how this is now panning out, unless Paul Skeens is going to become available, and then maybe you have a different conversation on your hands. But it goes to show you what the Yankees have developed here. And I know the Yankees have definitely been on the short end of the stick in terms of development, but they deserve some credit for what's happening with this.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I got to be honest. I don't think you trade Schlittler at all. I think he's got to be untouchable, because you can move on from one of the other starting pitchers. I think he's got to be your untouchable piece in that rotation, truthfully. I think he's that good. He's this young already. The thing about Heel, you look back on, and you had brought this up. You're like, I like Luis Heel. I'm a little concerned, though, when teams get a full season of him, how is he going to look then?
Right.
Notice he's still a good pitcher, but he's not a dominant pitcher. And the reason being is because he doesn't have that velo anymore, and he doesn't have the accuracy. He doesn't have the control. He doesn't even know where it's going.
How many pitchers in baseball, by the way, throw 95 miles an hour and have control issues and have sustainable success? Can you name one other pitcher? Because Luis Heel does, and I saw it in the comments from Alex Reyes. He was mentioning weak contact. Weak contact is great, but you know what's even better than that is no contact. But having said all this, you're not seeing 98, 99 anymore from Luis Heel. To your point, Jake, you don't see that. Now, is it in there? Perhaps. Maybe as the weeks go on, as we get closer to postseason baseball, maybe we'll start to see the radar gun flirt with 9,900 again. But the deal is, Jake, I'm concerned just from the simple standpoint of I don't know any pitchers who live 94, 95 that have a great slider that don't have control. And you're like, oh, he's reliable. I'd toss him the baseball in game 2 of the World Series, game 3 of the World Series. I don't know of a single other arm in this game that has that problem. So he's a unique player, and Cam Schlittler is just making his pursuit of starting game 3 of a division series that much harder to earn because Cam Schlittler is giving him a run for his money. This is a good pitcher.
Well, we don't talk about Luis Heel nearly enough. Is that his velo's at 95. Now, some people might think, oh, that's pretty good. It was at like 97 to 100 last year. Is this, and I want to bounce this off you. Mm-hmm. Is this a Jabba Chamberlain situation where they're telling him they don't want him to throw as hard? Or has he actually lost a step? And we're not talking about a huge step, but this young in his career, coming off his rookie year, has he already kind of lost some velo?
Well, so first and foremost, I don't actually have a definitive answer. That there's just no way for me to know.
Yeah,
but having said that, let's just pretend that they told him, we need you to dial it back. Well, if a pitcher who lives 98 to 100 consistently sits 98 to 100 miles an hour, and he's been instructed, you need to dial back the velocity. We need to keep you in the game, keep you more healthy. This is the best plan of attack. Okay, let's assume that's true. The control should be much easier to manage.
That's what I was thinking.
The first thing that happens, any pitcher who throws 100, Jacob deGrom's a great example, okay? And obviously he's had conversations with my great uncle Dwight Gooden, and hey, maybe 102, you don't have to live 102. Maybe you can dial that back to 98, 97 with all the movement and all the slider that you've got. As long as the differential on those pitches is right, you're going to be fine. You don't need 102. It's nice, but it's not necessary. It'll keep you healthy. So same conversation, Jake. And yet, if he had done that, you would just make the assumption you should have better control. That's a prerequisite. When the velocity goes down, the control needs to start spiking. And for him, he's still missing bats. And that was a concern of mine. It hasn't really... He's not pitching to contact. Still missing bats with 95, but the control at 95, I don't know. I have no idea. And maybe as this ages, we'll be wrong or I'll be wrong. I'll wear that. But I know I don't want somebody out there struggling with control in postseason baseball. That is not what you want to see because in October, 2-out walks turn into runs. That's just how the game's played. Why does it happen? Is it likely to happen in the regular season? No. Hitters aren't grinding the same way, but every time you see championship series, World Series, and you see some dude get hit in the foot with a 2-out 0-2 pitch, that dude finds a way to touch home plate. That's how baseball is played over there, and I just don't know. There were a lot of people in our comment section saying that maybe they would consider moving Heel to the bullpen, but control issues. It's the same deal with Doval.
It would just be Doval.
Right. Yeah. Better pitcher than Doval, certainly.
Yeah.
But you're talking about when you put Doval in there, man on first base, okay, well, a walk is killer. Now there's a guy in scoring position. Any hit whatsoever is runs. That's no good. As a starter, you'll be fine. So, yeah, obviously, we want to make sure we're giving as much credit to Cam Schlittler as possible. He deserves it. Do you think, by the way, that Boone, I have no idea what they're doing. Is this staff going to put any stock into the innings that Schlittler's throwing? Do you think they're going to bubble wrap this, given the history of injuries from our young players?
No, I don't. I think that Louis Seal last year was because of an injury before. So I don't think that was like... let's put it this way. Louis Seal never would have been on a pitch count or anything if he didn't already have a previous arm injury. I'll end it with this on this note, and then we'll hit Ed's Super, because Ed's Super is fantastic. Hall of Fame level.
Very good.
Fantastic. But I'll end it like this. Louis Seal is still coming back from the injury. I am not ruling him out of anything. I'm just saying, what have you done for me lately? He looks good, but Schlittler clearly looks better, and he has more in his arsenal, I believe, where the fall off for Schlittler versus the fall off for Heel is drastically different. Schlittler pounds the strike zone. He's fearless. That's a good quality to have in the postseason. Can be a problem, but you know what? I think it's more of a benefit than a problem more often than not. Heel's control issues are always a problem. There is no benefit. So if I get a little bit over aggressive in the strike zone, I can dial back a little bit. But if I'm Louis Heel and I can't throw strikes, there's not much I can really lean on. So I worry. It's like a horror movie seeing Louis Heel go out there, Game 3 of the World Series against, say, the Brewers or somebody like that, and he can't find the strike zone, and the Brewers will just sit there all day and take pitches and get on base and make you pay. I mean, they're not playing station-to-station baseball. That's why they're the best in the league. So yep. That is what I'm focused on. And obviously I'm focused on the AL East, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to this rotation and why I continue to say Cam Schlittler over Louis Heel and Will Warren is because I think Cam Schlittler, while they all could struggle in the moment, Cam Schlittler has shown more often than not he's not fazed by anything, and he's got more to rely on, more to lean on. Like, I would compare it like this. You got your rookie quarterback in the NFL. And what does a rookie quarterback do? They dump it off to the running back. They dump it off to the tight end. They throw to big targets, right? Because they just have to be generally accurate, not pinpoint accurate. There's less tension. There's less pressure. Oh, okay, like Travis Kelce or whoever is just right there. Big 6'5", 250-pound body. A lot easier to throw to than 5'8", Tutu Atwell, right? So here's the deal. I liken Cam Schlittler to a quarterback, a rookie quarterback that has 2 tight ends you could throw to, 2 running backs you can throw to, has a bunch of big weapons, because Cam has so many different ways to get through a start. Even though he doesn't have 6 pitches, it's the approach. He doesn't even have to go.
More dimensions to his game. He has more wrinkles, more things to throw at you. And this isn't just a standpoint of I've got a fastball, I've got a cutter, I've got a slider, a curveball. It's not that. It's, well, what if you see a team that is swing happy? They'll put the ball in play often. Who are you then? What if you see a team that's going to swing and miss, but they'll draw a ton of walks? Very similar, they'll hit the homer, the way the Yankees play baseball. What then? And Cam Schlittler, over all of those unique starts, has shown more wrinkles. He's shown the ability to give you control. He's shown you the ability to strike out 8 or 9 guys. He's shown the ability to go deeper into games, right? So once you see that, is he a perfect pitcher as of now? No. He's going to be much better years from now, hopefully, if he stays healthy. But there's just more to him. There's more to him, and Louis Heel is going to be pitching in a big game starting tomorrow on Apple, and that is against Giolito at Fenway Park. This is the series we were talking about. This is the big series. For those of you who want to know, what series are we going to stop saying, oh, is this when we let go of the rope, or are the Yankees going forward? This series. This is it. We said this
Boston
Blue Jays
got
series,
another day off.
Perfect. This series, the series we had at Yankee Stadium with Toronto, that was the biggest series up until that point. Now it's this. It's this. And if this goes, and let's just say we lose 2 of 3, the division is over. I know from a literal standpoint, we can say what we want about what could technically happen. If they don't take care of business against, at Fenway Park, none of that's happening. So now you're going to see in a postseason setting, that's what this is going to feel like. This is going to be a postseason game. Boston's going to get up for this game. We should be up for this game. I don't want to hear any, it's like the Lakers, people get up for us. You should be up for this game the same way they are. Get up for this game. Heel's going to have to show he's in the strike zone. If you're not, you're going to give up runs. That's just the way baseball goes in these type of games. So looking forward to it. Really appreciate you, by the way. See you, Rich Squires, in the comment section. We will get you up on screen here in just a second. Ed W with the 10 says, is it possible to quantify the number of wins we lost this season because Boone hit an injured Volpe in a prime lineup spot to strand dozens of runners? Is there an analytic for negative manager war? WTF.
I'm so glad there's anger in this, but it's of course controlled because Ed is very smart, knows how to get his point across. But there's anger in this. And if you guys saw me earlier today when I went live solo, I was angry. Gary knows. I was pissed. I was like, I have to go live. This is unacceptable. Gary, I think this is a great way to put it. Is it possible to quantify the number of wins we lost this season because Boone was hitting an injured Volpe in a prime lineup spot? Is it? I don't know. I'll tell you this.
I don't really buy this. I know I didn't get my opportunity to speak on this whole Volpe situation.
Yeah, go right ahead. Let it rip.
I really don't buy this situation. I don't buy the extent of it. Do I believe he received a cortisone shot? Yes. Yeah, I do. But you know who else received a cortisone shot before playing really good baseball? DJ LeMahieu. He received a cortisone. Did you remember the rehab assignment he went on?
Yeah.
He went on a rehab assignment. The rehab assignment, he was hitting the ball hard, and everyone's like, look, there's something there. And it's not like we were trying to stop it, but we were like, well, let's pump the brakes. It's still the minor leagues, and this is a guy who played professional baseball for a while, so this doesn't mean anything just yet. And then DJ LeMahieu concluded that rehab assignment, and the last thing they told us before saying, hey, he's been given a roster spot, was that he received a cortisone shot, and he'll be out there in a couple days. And everyone's sitting there looking around going, are you kidding me right now? But what happened, Jake? DJ LeMahieu actually was somewhat serviceable. He was able to perform, right? Was he great? No. Hell no. He would still be here if he was. But the point is now what with Anthony Volpe? Either he was injured and you guys are just flaming morons that played another injured player the same way you did Anthony Rizzo, which is the story from a lot of people, is that how are we not able to figure out that we're playing injured players? But here's the funny part. They already knew that, and they just weren't telling us. That's the unique part about this situation, unlike the Rizzo situation. Rizzo, on the other hand, had a concussion, and we were playing him. If he knew he had a concussion, he wouldn't be playing baseball. He no longer plays baseball today. He's sitting in the stands in September. The stands, like a fan. That's Anthony Rizzo, by the way. And the Yankees pretty much ruined the end of his career. He would be playing baseball if that concussion situation didn't happen. And yet they did that. But with Volpe, he had a cortisone shot. Why didn't you tell us? Even if it wasn't an issue, you didn't perceive it to be a long-term issue, why didn't you tell us? Why? You know why? Because just like you see from Extra Salty in the comment section, they are grasping at straws. They are saying, Anthony Volpe, you're healthy enough to play. You're healthy enough to play. They have Caballero on the lineup, but they say, no, Volpe's going to play. And if it doesn't go well, we're going to treat him like he's my son. And as soon as we realize, you know what, we can't salvage this, pull the plug, and we're going to say, no, blame us because we're now telling you he's been playing banged up the whole year. Essentially what it does is it makes Anthony Volpe, it makes you feel sorry for him, is what it does. It makes you, instead of villainizing Anthony Volpe, right, instead of wanting him to be as accountable as possible with his play, Jake, now the villain is the Yankees front office. The Yankees front office, what do they care about being the villain? It's the same thing with Roger Goodell in the NFL. He was hired to be the villain. He is essentially a lawyer for the owners. That's why he doesn't care if he's booed. You know why, guys? Because as long as you're not booing the owner of your NFL team, your local team, they're good with it. That's why they hire a commissioner, not for any other reason. So I just want you guys to realize this is all a ploy to get you guys off of Anthony Volpe's back. And again, we feel sorry that he's having to deal with a shoulder injury, all that. We want him as healthy as possible. That said, he's just not a good baseball player. It has nothing to do with this shoulder injury. It doesn't. Reason I know that, Jake, and here's my conclusion. He was not a good baseball player in 2023. He was not a good ball player in 2024. And as you go into 2025, honestly, defensively, the best year he had was 2024, the year he did not win a Gold Glove, won a Gold Glove the previous year, his rookie year. Complete nonsense, Jake. It is hogwash. It is just nonsense. I honestly have no idea, because it puts you in a tough spot. It makes you want to say, I feel like I'm almost saying all this stuff is fake, but it's like, why don't we just say it with our chest? This is not real. It's not. He's just playing horrible baseball, and he was going to be benched for that entire Boston series. Just bench him. Just bench him. That's as simple as that.
I actually disagree. I do think it's real, and I think they're that ridiculous where, they just are that negligent. I really believe that. I really do.
So why didn't Volpe tell us he was hurt then?
Because, the Yankees run the tightest ship when it comes to talking to the media. You could just tell. They're already instructed to say whatever they're going to say. Ben Rice tells us. Yeah, and then he gets benched. Literally right after.
I don't believe that story that Ben Rice was benched because of what he said in the media.
No, I don't believe that. That's just entirely speculation. My thing, Gary, because I think we feel the same way, just differently. I don't give Anthony Volpe a pass. I just hate the idea that, and let's just be honest with ourselves, okay? I hate the idea that they sold us on Anthony Volpe being like what Bobby Witt Jr. ended up being. And they care so much about this guy that they're willing to play him with an injured, torn labrum. That, to me, is insane. But you know what? That's what I've come to expect from this team. You mentioned Anthony Rizzo. How about Miguel Andujar? The way they botched that. How about Clint Frazier? The way they botched that. How about Jose Trevino? The way they botched that. We had no idea, and they had no idea for a week.
You know why I don't believe
it? Mark Slater Jr. broke his leg.
Here's why I don't believe it. Let me go down the list of players who have had injuries this year. Mm-hmm. We'll start with my favorite player to watch on this entire roster, Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger walks out of spring training. You and I were very excited about this signing for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
Cody Bellinger, and I believe you decided that you wanted to bring it up on our podcast first, is as he was walking out of spring training, he was nursing a back injury, and no one talked about it. Nobody cared. Spring training, and I get it. It's a casual experience. It's a tune-up situation. A lot of people aren't watching. It's not on national TV for the most part. Well, Cody Bellinger came out the gates very slow. Very slow. For a $25 million a year player, he was not playing like that type of deal. He wasn't. And you came out and said, well, guys, keep in mind, they've told us that he's dealing with this back injury. So Cody Bellinger has an injury. They just tell us right off the rip. Now, again, he played through it just like Volpe did, right? He's not missing a week, or they're not keeping him off the IL but putting him day to day. No, he literally is just playing through the injury. And we just chalked it up, his slow start, to the back. It's the back injury, and we chalk it up to that. Then you look up and say, well, who else dealt with this? What other player in our lineup? Well, Stanton, right? Stanton is dealing with injuries. Anytime he deals with any setbacks, they throw it to us right away. They immediately give us an update. How about Austin Wells? Austin Wells, we all expected his progression. We expected that to continue, right? I think you and I both agreed. We were excited about Austin Wells for 2025. Yeah. The second he starts struggling, They go out there and throw something down the field and they go, oh, it's because actually he has this issue where he can't feel the sensation in his fingers. What?
I get what you're saying. I totally get it.
So I'm trying to understand, why is Anthony Volpe, if I'm to believe this, why is Anthony Volpe playing through injuries that they're refusing to give me the information, but Austin Wells doesn't, right? Grisham doesn't, knee sprain, right? Hamstring doesn't, Bellinger, players that are much more accomplished or even lesser, they're giving me all that information. But for Anthony Volpe, now they just want to tell me that the injury is bad enough where it could have affected something.
They didn't really give us much with Wells, though. They're like, yeah, he's got like nerve damage. He'll be fine to play. It was like the same thing. The same thing as Volpe.
Right.
And then, like, we're just supposed to... And then you and I were like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to do with this information. I mean, like, are they going to continue to play him? Yeah. So, like, what do I make of this?
This is a partially torn labrum.
See, this is my issue, Gary. Because, like I said, I believe we're on the same side here, just differently, right? I believe that they're that negligent. I do. They've shown this. You said it yourself. They ruined Anthony Rizzo's end of his career.
What's the point of doing this, though? Like, what's their angle? Because Anthony Volpe is not like a Mookie Betts. He's not Bobby Witt Jr. He never will be. So what is the purpose of a fringe starter in Major League Baseball at best? What's the point of playing him through injury? Why? So what's their angle of what were they going for by not being honest?
That's my
how
thing.
He was feeling. What would they possibly say to that?
That's my thing. I have no idea. I have none. Because, like, that's what I don't understand, right? If Anthony Volpe, was benched, it's not like Oswald Peraza was going to take that job from him, right? He wasn't hitting.
Right.
So my only thing is, okay, well, now with Caballero, he could take that job from him. He should take that job from him. It's interesting it's happening now. My biggest thing is this. I don't care what the semantics are, okay? The idea that this happened, like, we've been talking about this. And I'm not trying to give Volpe tons of credit or anything like that. I'm not trying to defend him. I'm just being honest. We know this is the worst he's ever looked. And to me, who's ever is responsible for putting him out there every single day with this injury that we said, we talked about on our last show, and we're like, yeah, we don't know for sure. We're speculating, but like, yeah, it's been bad since. Well, here's my thing. He goes from a 243 hitter to a 206 hitter. He goes from an on-base percentage around 320, 330 to now 268. He goes from being a Gold Glove shortstop, and I say his rookie year he shouldn't have won it. I thought last year he should have won it. And he goes from that to then now he's the worst defender in the league.
He's the worst defender in the league, and he's the worst hitter in the league. He's the worst baseball player in baseball.
As much as he bothers me, as out as I am on him, I don't believe for a second he just regressed like that without any sort of... I do believe the injury. That's my thing. I 100% believe this is real. I think that they just they honestly continue to just mess shit up. Obviously, Aaron Judge is such a big name. Aaron Judge is established. They can sit Aaron Judge. But I don't think the injury is
fake. So I don't want that to be considered what I'm telling you. I don't think that. But they're making it seem like the extent of it is now, it's further, right, than just, okay, you got a cortisone and then we moved on from it. Well, it's either that the injury didn't bother him at all and he's just a bad baseball player, or the injury is significant. And so, if you just want me to believe that he became the worst baseball player in the world, he's the worst player in Major League Baseball on all 30 teams. He's horrible. And you're going to tell me since the injury, that's who he's been. Before that, he was just a solid glove who couldn't really hit. Like 240 with some pop is not a good hitter. So he was a good glove. You can't, there's no possible way that you can tell me, we didn't think it was that big of a deal. I know since that exact date, he's been the worst you've ever seen. but that's just purely coincidence. Now they're trying to make me villainize them rather than Volpe. I'll just tell you right now, I do not want to see you run it back and tell me, well, Volpe just wasn't healthy. We've chalked it up now to injury. That's what we think was the cause. And we'll blame you, the management, right? Cashman will blame Boone, who absolutely deserve blame, because I don't understand how Brian Cashman doesn't. Cashman knows this injury happened, by the way. This is not news to him. So if Cashman knows this, why wouldn't you go get a shortstop and be aggressive out on the market, because you know your shortstop's not 100%, and yet they just don't do that. So it's an interesting situation. It doesn't look good.
He kept going around in circles, though. Did you notice that? Aaron Boone to Kirshner to Hoke and Gary Phillips had different things to say to similar questions.
What did they say exactly?
So Kirshner here, Aaron Boone, when asked if he thinks Anthony Volpe playing through a partial labrum tear has any impact on his performance, quote, "Not much. I feel like he's been in a good spot physically. I think everybody deals with certain things, so it's impossible to say like this affected something this much or it didn't at all. I don't know how you can possibly know that, but I don't know it's been a major factor in his performance or his ability to swing a bat or his ability to go to post every day. That's my sense." Then of course he, told, well, Brian Hoke just reported that, but the one with Gary Phillips, and I got to find this because that's the thing is the Anthony Volpe shoulder has been something that I have brought up multiple times on this show. And it frustrates me because I just feel like they kept just saying, no, everything's fine. Like, there's no big deal. And it ended up being something the entire time. And like, I remember Anthony Volpe feeling a pop in his shoulder back in May, and they brushed it off like it was nothing because they're obsessed with trying to play him.
Yeah, and I did think it was weird because we heard that right away. We heard that same day. And again, we do a podcast every single day. Yeah. And so we heard, I heard a pop. Okay, well, your body's not supposed to pop. Unless you're walking to the bathroom and you're like a 40-year-old man in the middle of the night, your body, it pops then. It's not supposed to pop when you're a 24-year-old professional baseball player diving for a ground ball. Shouldn't happen. So when that's occurring, and then you tell me, it's just day to day, because remember, I believe they gave him the following day off. Then he played the next day. And you're sitting there wondering, okay, well, was that just nothing? What was it? Turns out it was a partially torn labrum right then and there. They did not tell us. They did imaging, by the way. And the Yankees, here's what they told us. This is it just came to me. They told us it only revealed some scarring, no issues.
Yeah, and
that's a lie.
What
Jake?
I just said to you was today.
Oh my gosh.
By Chris Kirshner, right?
Yes.
That was so. How about yesterday? Let's talk about yesterday with Gary Phillips, right? Just yesterday, Aaron Boone was asked by Gary Phillips if Anthony Volpe, his shoulder, has had any impact on him, if it's been something he had to manage. His response was, quote, "I think early on after that, maybe a little bit, but I think it's something that'll also improve over the course of the year. I feel like even lately it's been in as good of a place as it's been. I don't necessarily think that's the case, but he's also a very tough kid and a gamer, so I don't think so, but I guess I shouldn't rule it out." Are you kidding me? It's been this way forever. Brian Cashman in July said he's been playing through things. They just continue to play ring around the frickin' rosy on how stupid and convoluted this thing can get.
When did they say the injury occurred?
May.
So it was that dive, correct?
It was the dive. Everyone saw it.
So they received an MRI. They waited a day, right, for swelling to go down. There was swelling. He didn't play the next day. Did the imaging. Now, here's the funny part. When you do the imaging and then you say, well, what did it say? Now, we're asking you a direct question and we're expecting honesty, not really, based on how things have gone. We expect you to lie to us, but when we ask you just deliberate questions that have simple, just point A to point B answers, when we say, hey, you got an MRI, what did it say? And they said, well, we saw scarring in there, but nothing different than what we've seen previously. And that does happen. Like if you have scarring in your shoulder, you can get a scan on your shoulder 4 or 5 years later, and it will show that exact same scarring. Not everything heals, especially as an athlete. But having said this, Jake, they deliberately went out of their way to withhold the truth then.
Yes.
So that is why when you go on people's podcasts, if you're Aaron Boone, and people ask you, so what's going on with the throwing accuracy? What's the issue there? He goes, well, what are you talking about? The throwing's been fine. That same person who lied to you about the imaging, because I know it somebody above were like, hey, just say whatever. Then he comes out and is like, oh, everything's good because he's going to play through it. So there's no reason to tell them he has a torn labrum. And here's why. If we tell him he has a torn labrum, everyone's going to be screaming that we should be getting him surgery right away, not playing him. Because if he plays poorly, it comes back on us. This is really dumb.
I think we can all agree this is just
negligence.
An absolute shitstorm.
This sucks. And it's going to turn into, he's going to have a light operation. They'll tell us exactly that. Light operation. He's going to go into arbitration. They'll say, well, you can come back cheap. He will be right back here in spring training next year.
What's so dumb to me is you can see how they're posturing, as you've brought up.
Yep.
I just, and I get where you're coming from. I just think that they've absolutely colossally messed this up. And I think now it's just come to the point where it's like, okay, now we have to tell them, right? Because he re-aggravated.
So you think if he would have just, okay, you think
Yes.
the re-aggravation is the reason they're telling us. But why didn't you just tell us that
Because
the
of the
entire
Yankees.
Injury just happened right there? Why didn't you just tell us that?
Because
You're
they
gonna
have to
lie.
do everything difficultly. But here's what I'll say, okay? When it comes to Anthony Volpe, when they say he's going to have an operation at the end of the year, because they've already said, like, yeah, he'll probably get it figured out at the end of the year. What? And then they're like, yeah, he's not going on IL. Like, it'll just be a... What? See,
This is a good point, though. I want to put this up from our screen.
Yeah.
Because this does matter. Member of ours just threw this in there, and we'll get to our super chats here in just a second. So Mr. Shaman with the 76 here says it's not the throwing arm. This is his left shoulder, lead shoulder hitting. Now, that shoulder, that is a problem. When you're hitting with a partially torn labrum and it's your lead shoulder, that's an issue. It's a problem. And
it's still
again,
a problem fielding, though, because now you're overcompensating for it.
Right. I played baseball in college, and I've seen many torn labrums, mainly from pitchers, right? But I have never, and I've seen many players also try and play through a partially torn labrum. Each and every one of them were done playing baseball within 2 years. Now, that's not to say what's going to happen with Anthony Volpe, but having said that, this is not an injury to play with. This is actually probably the worst injury. Like a actual just fully torn labrum is one of the worst injuries you can have. You'd much rather tear your
torn
UCL.
labrum. He has a partial tear.
That's what I'm saying.
Could be a full tear based on, this is why I hate playing him with this. I hate
that's
it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that when you have a fully torn labrum, it is the worst thing you can do. A lot of people think that my dad, for example, just wanted to catch the baseball like this. I think people think that that's just part of the style. No. He had a torn labrum in both shoulders, and he had those both repaired multiple times. So he couldn't lift his arm above his shoulder. Same thing with when he golfs. He cannot lift his arm above his shoulder. That's just how the body works. So just to tell you how serious labrums are, it is not good at all.
Did not know that about your dad.
Yeah, 2 torn labrums. And it just doesn't work out. And Apex, appreciate the 2. Says, I'm glad POTUS didn't go to shitty field, needed rub. Yeah, so he was there at the stadium today, obviously with the 9/11. Thought it was really cool, the ceremony before the game. Apex again with the 2 says, K said 4-man in the playoffs, Heel, Warren, or Yarby. My assumption is they'll go with Heel. I probably feel more comfortable, though, with Yarby, as weird as that sounds. Do you think they will go to Heel? That's my expectation.
Well, I feel like if they went 4, I think they'd go with Yarby because they could basically just say, yeah, it's a bullpen day. But like you have a guy that can go 5-6 innings if he pitches well. You can keep him in there. So
you could also go double-barreled out of the bullpen.
I'm
with
100% going double-barreled in the fourth. There's no reason not to. For that reason, you might go with Heel and then Yarby, or Warren and then Yarby. I don't think they're going to go with Warren, though. I just don't. He's had some blow-up innings. I think I would even take Heel's.
No, I agree with you.
Heel's control issues are frustrating. I can deal with 5 walks because I can actually go to the bullpen when you're walking guys, and I can stop the bleeding. I can't deal with, you just sent that rocket ship into outer space. Yeah, I'm done now because those runs are already scored. I can't bring in anybody. You know what I mean? So that's
I agree
the thing.
with you. We love the development of what Warren's done.
Of course.
But he can lose it in a hurry. And that's partly because the velocity isn't there. Like there's a reason, like, can you be trusted with your stuff? And he can be really good, mainly at the stadium. He's been good.
Yeah.
But when he gets out onto the road, you may just see, oh yeah, we're flipping the ball in game 4 to Will Warren. That seems like a mistake on the road.
Do you think they strategically use him at the stadium? The splits are so obvious. You know what I mean?
No, I don't. Honestly, I
Okay.
don't see them doing it. But, I mean, I guess you can look at it as this will be a 3-man rotation, and then we'll kick it out to 4. That 4th guy is just simply going to be play it by ear. What's the situation? If we're at home, like you said, they could just tee up a Warren start. But, again, this is kind of where the human element comes in. Just looking at basic numbers. Who's he on the road? Who's he at home? Just very basic stuff. Not any analytics that we can't quantify that, Michael K has to come out and say they have their own numbers. No, it's some obvious stuff. He pitches great at home. He's horrible on the road. Make an adjustment. But Yarborough, on the other hand, other than that Dodger star, which obviously was not good, he's been pretty reliable and found ways to go deeper into games. But the one thing about pitching Ryan Yarborough is it's not a guarantee he's going to go length. It could tee you up for a situation where he has to come out by the 3rd. If you're not double barreling with Heel, you're asking for trouble with our bullpen. You just are. So, Rich Squires, I wanted to make sure you get up on the screen because you did kick off this conversation. So thank you for bringing that to the table about Volpe's injury. Yeah, we're not happy about this situation at all. I mean, let's be real. And Apex with the 2, appreciate that. Thank you. Says, honestly, good on Warren for staying healthy so far. It's been a major.
You just jinxed him, Apex.
Yeah, Jake believes in jinxing. I don't.
No, I don't. I'm totally kidding. I don't believe in jinxing at all.
But Will Warren has, I think, Jake, you and I actually have higher hopes for Will Warren than most people do.
Yeah.
We don't think he's going to be an ace. We don't. I don't think he has the stuff for that.
I don't know if he makes it through the winter, but,
But he's going to be a good pitcher. He's going to be a good pitcher in this league. He's going to be fine. And I'm here to tell you right now, you kick him to a lot of other teams, he's getting 30 starts. He is. He's going to have his same, and those woes on the road, those will settle down into year 3 and maybe into year 4. It'll settle in. He's not always going to be terrible on the road. He's not always going to have those blow-up starts where he just can't get an out. Then the next day you see him, you're like, well, where was this? Where was this Will Warren who's just living on the corner all day? So, yeah, honestly, good on him. He deserves it. And Zachary Morris, who I did see, he was asking us, how do you join the channel on the mobile app? I was trying to type in there, but then Jake kicked the question to me, and I was like, I deleted it. But Zach, we really appreciate the 2. I do see that you figured that out. So good on you.
Yeah, second level. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. And big picture, guys, with the 2. Says Volpe injury is psyop. 90% face-saving BS. So big picture, guys, is kind of on my side with this. Is that?
But again, we're all on the same team here. Like, it's negligence through and through. Regardless, let's just say your side is 100% right. That's still negligence.
Neither is good.
No.
None of it's acceptable at all.
No.
Whether or not he was just, it's a real injury and they just lied to us, or if they just found out now and it's a Rizzo situation. I mean, it almost seems grounds for a damn lawsuit at this point.
I was just going to say,
it's gross.
Like, just wait until a fan sues the Yankees for pain and suffering.
If I go into arbitration and I hear, they were forcing me, not only were they forcing me to play with a partially torn labrum in front of Yankees fans and having to deal with all the hysteria, right? That didn't help my value with what the fans are saying. But they also didn't allow me to speak to the media. I was instructed not to tell him I had a partially torn labrum. That's why I didn't tell him. He may say that in arbitration, by the way, guys. It gets ugly.
Yeah. Look at what freaking Randy Levine. I'll never forget the way he treated Dylan Betances, man. It does get ugly. It's basically everyone's debating about why they shouldn't. They want to still pay you, but it's so funny. They're bartering you. Like you're like,
it's like when you're a podcaster and you're trying to get a sponsorship. And what, Jake, you know what they always say.
Oh yeah.
So what? How much are you thinking monthly? Right? You're trying to get like some monthly rate. They want you to spit out a number, and they want it to be low. If they have to spit out a number, they just know you're going to ask for more than that.
Yep.
And that's what arbitration is. It is just a cycle of.
We definitely didn't go through that.
No, definitely not. And Peace Geek with the 10, appreciate that. Thank you. Says, I have never seen the Yankees tell the total truth about players' injuries, and they mismanage injuries on top of it. And they'd rather be right about a touted player. None of it is new. So I would assume Peace Geeks watch some Yankees baseball throughout the years. Jake, you and I both have as well, but some people have some years on us. They've been watching more Yankees baseball. But I would probably say also for Yankees fans that watched the Girardi years, and we did, certainly, but even the entirety of Joe Torre's career, Showalter, and you're going all the way throughout the 80s and the 90s, well, you can see the disparity, just how different each staff deals with these injuries. You can just say, oh, like I used to go in about 2003, probably 2004, 2005, the way I would find out my information, Jake, is I'd go to Yankees.com. I go to Yankees.com. I had just watched a player play, right? Just watched the player walk off the field, and this is a fan's worst nightmare, is you learn about an injury when the player previously looked fine. We see this with Giancarlo Stanton today. Player will walk off the field. You're not thinking anything of it. I'm on Yankees.com, and it's front page. It says, this guy is day-to-day. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, they told me. It was just simple point A to point B, a report. Now I know what to expect. By the time the game comes on at 4, I'm not going, oh, where's so-and-so? I just have the information. But now they almost feel like it's weaponized by giving us the honest information. Like there's a downside to doing it. They don't want to give us the truth for whatever reason. They think it's just a net loss for the Yankees. And I'm not sure why they feel that way. I can't understand the angle. From a game plan standpoint, I understand the NFL, right? When you're talking about, the Super Bowl's in 2 weeks, we're both there, we've got a couple weeks off, so-and-so, a Christian McCaffrey is not going to be ready for the Super Bowl. If we tell them that, they won't game plan for him for 2 weeks. That's a problem. So I understand from that perspective, but over a 162 game season, you're not going to tell us the honest information as it comes in. Why should I even interview you at this point?
Yeah, no, it's a waste of everybody's time, really. So, yeah, that's all that there is to really say. But Zachary, we mentioned you earlier, but we wanted to give you the badge of honor, literal badge over the stream. So
we're also working on emojis. We're working on those. I'm working on them. I'm not very good with technology. I'm just not. I'm good with my phone. Not good with any other tech. I pretty much have to set everything up how they are, and I don't touch anything. I don't unplug everything. So I'm sure the winter meetings will be just fine for us, Jake. As soon as you get here, I'm going to be trying to get all these plugins going. Oh, my God.
I'm going to have my heart palpitations again.
Right. Zachary Morris, though, thank you. Welcome in on the mobile device. Really appreciate the membership. Happy to have you here. And by the way, I'm assuming he is a subscriber. If you're new here, I know I told you 54 minutes into the pod, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Make sure to like this video. Liking videos helps out our channel a ton, helps out the algorithm. So really appreciate that. And Apex. Apex with the 2 says, wow, Hal Steinbrenner showed up. He lives. Yeah, I thought I saw a ghost. Did you see that?
No, he wasn't real. He's not real. They used AI.
How many games, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, how many games do you think Hal's been to in the last 5 years?
2.
You think he's been to 2 games? Okay, I think he's been to more than that. I'm going to say
I'm
he
kidding.
goes to...
He's probably been to like 30 something.
Yeah, that's pretty close to what I was going to say. I was going to say in the last 5 years, I was going to say 25. That was going to be my guess. 5 a year.
Yeah.
And that's like pushing it. 5 a year? Because you're talking about 81 home games. So I would even say 3 a year might be where he's at.
Yeah. I think
it's not what you
puts
want.
him, no, it's not what you want.
No, because even like Jerry Jones is going to be at the game. What people can say what they want about Jerry Jones, but he's not sitting in his yacht.
Arthur Blank's going to be at the game. You know, like Jeffrey Lurie for the Eagles. Right. He's going to be at the game. Like most owners, by the way, are at the games in the NFL. But that is not the case in baseball, I noticed.
Why do you think that is? Because mind you, I see people saying it is a spectacle because you only have to go once a week. And
no,
like
you only have to go to like 8 games. It's 8 games at home. Most of the league is not going to have a home playoff game. So it's just 8 games.
Yep, that's it.
So that's definitely why. That has to be why.
So he does Apex. He lives. And Yankees EG 94 with the 5 says not watching another game this season. Yankees support fascism. Okay.
Well, I appreciate the 5.
Yep. Appreciate the 5. The third with the 5 says total disregard for the player and team. Then to think the fan base is dumb. No, the fan base isn't dumb, which obviously we would agree with you. But the fan base, I will say this: the fan base can forget, and that's something that I think the Yankees are aware of. Is that you can plant a seed, even with smart fans. You really can throw them off their mark. Because if you really think about this, at the time when Anthony Rizzo was playing terrible baseball, we're like, man, he sucks. He's horrible. Do you remember that, Jake? We were talking about the defense. Like, the defense isn't even there. That's something that we have to see. You got to be a defensive anchor. You came from Chicago. You got to be a lockdown over there and help this infield defense because it's a problem. And then all of a sudden, by the time the injury happened and then he was off the field, they just became who to blame. And then we went into the offseason, and look what's happening to Rizzo in the offseason. People are acting like he sucks again. Like he didn't deal with what he dealt with. The story, for whatever reason, is not translating when you get to the winter. So I completely agree. It's a complete disregard for the player and the team, but the fan base has to hold them accountable. You have to. These reporters have to be going at Aaron Boone as hard as possible about what the hell just happened with all these injuries and how they've handled them.
No, I agree. And I think I got to give reporters credit. I mean, I think they've been louder lately. I think people saw Chris Kirshner start to push Aaron Boone, and now I think people are starting to take that lead a little bit more. Just an observation. Joel Sherman, I still love what he said. That's just kind of how I've been. Oh my God, dude. I still can't stop thinking about it. It's so perfect because it's one of those things, like I said, when I said it, the glass just shattered. And it's just like, oh, I get what he's saying now. I watched it, but when somebody contextualizes something, it makes it easier, and now you can't look away from it. But I appreciate you, B3. And Donald, if this injury thing is true for Volpe, they have to keep records. What is the chance a player union files? That's what I'm saying, man. It is getting to that point where, because people are like, well, why would Anthony Volpe play? He's a competitor. Like, you know how many guys play injured? The NFL, the NHL, the NBA. I know it's hard to believe with the NBA.
It's actually not legal in the NBA. I don't know if people know this. But from a literal perspective, the reason, if you pay attention to the NBA, and I know they take a lot of random days off, it's very lackadaisical in the NBA. But the worst you've ever seen today. However, if a player has any injury, if a foot's bothering him, if his hamstring's bothering him, let's just say a Kevin Durant has a hamstring injury. If they don't put, he's going to the trainer's room and he is at least questionable, or he is likely to play in the game, if they don't report that he's got that injury and he goes out there and actually basically re-injures himself, there can be a grievance. And now essentially what they were trying to do with that is avoid people taking days off for phantom injuries. So now they're saying, no, we need an exact account of every injury players are dealing with. And if you don't tell us they're dealing with the injury, you just say they're healthy, then they're healthy. So in this situation, Donald, when you go into arbitration, baseball doesn't have that rule. He's going to say, well, my performance and my value went down. He's going to say, yeah, that shoulder was really bothering me and they wanted me to play. They didn't even send me on the IL. This was not an IL stint. This was a 1 day off, day-to-day verdict, and get back onto the field.
Yep.
So, yes. Will the players' union get involved? Perhaps, because we have a lockout on our hands very soon. I think it's in the winter of 2026. So, in that situation, you could have a player like Anthony Volpe, who will be going into his second year of arbitration. He very well could lead the charge on maybe not a lawsuit, but players saying it's not acceptable for you to force me or really to ask me to play through an injury that I don't want to play through.
I think the MLB needs to have injury reports for every day. I think everybody should have to submit injury reports. They do it in the NFL. I think it should be an everyday thing. I truly do. If a guy is, like, hear me out. If a guy has any sort of injury, right, it's on the injury report. He could still play. It's not like he can't play, but I think everybody needs to know. I mean, we've had phantom ILs. Think about the mockery this league is making of itself when you have, like, actual fans that are commenting under a tweet, Clay Holmes on IL, and everyone's like, oh, phantom IL. Like, they literally interviewed Clay, and he's like, I don't know. He didn't even know. He was just told, hey, you're not pitching for 10 days. That's the deal.
Yep.
And actually,
and they already
10.
know technically what is a player. Think of it this way, guys. If you were in Clay Holmes' situation there, you're going on the IL. Fans are saying it's phantom IL. You're just performing poorly.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to say? Even if you're not really that hurt, what are you going to come out and be like, I'm fine? You know there's no purpose of you saying that because the team is going to be upset at you. Will they do anything about it? Maybe not. But maybe it'll weigh on their decision to bring you back if you're not going to play the game. They're asking you to play the game. If we want you on the IL because we want to bring up Jimmy Williams from AAA, Jimmy's coming up.
Who's
and
Jimmy
you're
Williams?
Oh, God.
You're like, I'm going to kill you.
Right. So you need to play the game. If we tell you you're hurt, you're hurt. Joey Cargo with the 2 says, let's kick some butt this weekend. Yeah, on the positive side, this is an opportunity. Are we 4 games back now officially?
No, it's 3.
It is now 3 games. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
We are 3 games back. Like I said before, this Boston series is going to tell you everything. If you lose 2 of 3, it's over. It's done. If you go out there and win the series, the rest of the Yankees schedule is very easy, very manageable. It's not like they have to show up. This isn't Little League where they're going to win every game 12-0. These are still professional baseball games the rest of the way. But you need to show that this is an opportunity and you guys are finally going to get up. My main concern for this game and this series is our offense. You guys need to put a hurt on Boston's rotation. You have to. And when I look up at who's pitching this game in Luis Gil, he's going to have to control the baseball. You need to work the corners and try not to be perfect. I'd rather you throw a fastball right down the middle than throwing a pitch off the plate all day. And Giolito, this is a real opportunity here. When you look up at the numbers for our offense, not a ton of sample size. Bellinger, Caballero, Chisholm, 2-3 at-bats, have success. They do. But here's the interesting part. Rosario has a ton of success. A ton against Giolito. Now, here's the interesting part about that. Jake, I would play Rosario over these numbers rather than Ryan McMahon. That would be my decision. I understand McMahon is seen as a situation where he's more of a platoon bat. We see a lefty, he's coming out. I understand that. But when you look at the numbers, and a player's hitting over 400 in 17 at-bats with an ops at almost 1,000, he's got to play.
He has
Same
to.
way that we said that Goldschmidt should play against lefties, he should play tomorrow against Giolito.
Damn, Akello Witherspoon's taking strays. Comparing him to Volpe? Ouch. That hurts. that hurts, man. I got the Witherspoon jersey in the background. That is quite the comment. Joey, we appreciate the super.
Being the Volpe of your field is not good.
Well, I'll tell you this. Keller Witherspoon shutting down every single receiver he faces. That would be the equivalent of Anthony Volpe hitting 330. They're nowhere near the same. All right. Let's look at tomorrow's game and then let's get to voicemails. How about that?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. So, tomorrow, Yankees, Red Sox, Apple TV Plus. If you don't have it, I don't know what to tell you. Boston, 56.5% favorites, according to ESPN. 7-10. It's Lucas Giolito, 10-3, 3.38 ERA, 1.26 WHIP, 130 and a third innings pitched, 118 hits given up, 107 strikeouts, 46 walks, and 16 homers. Luis Gil's 3-1 with a 3.31 ERA, a 1.53 WHIP. That is absolutely disgusting. 35 and a third innings pitched. He's given up 31 hits, 30 strikeouts, 23 walks, and 2 home runs. Gil's kept the ball in the yard for the most part. Only given up 2 home runs in 35 and a third. But, well, there you go. But the walks, man, 23 walks in 35 and a third innings is a lot, Gary. It's just a lot. So that is really the key of the game tomorrow. Can Luis Gil give them some sort of length, pitch with some sort of accuracy, not walk 8 batters, and can the bullpen not get absolutely destroyed? Because I think when the Yankees, typically when they come off a win like today, I feel like that offense does carry. Like, I think they will have an offense in this series. It's not my concern. My concern is the bullpen and Luis Gil in the first game walking. That's my concern.
Yep. Luis Gil's got to be excellent. Excellent. No, there's not going to be, he was solid and punted off. And Alex Reyes, appreciate you stopping by, my man. Thank you. And Guy says we have to take game 1. That's my perspective. This is not a time to go out there and give us 5 and surrender 1. And then now I have to figure out, where am I getting these other 4 innings? That's not good enough. You're starting the game. A prerequisite to a successful start in game 1 will be 6 innings. That's my expectation. I don't care how you get there. I don't care if you throw 111 pitches. You don't come off the mound until 6 innings have come and gone. And that's how this start needs to go. Aaron Boone has to demand that from Luis Gil. It's as simple as that. But even more importantly, outside of Aaron Boone's control, Luis Gil has to make an adjustment. This is not a rookie anymore. You're now going into year 2, and you've had time to make an adjustment. And now when we look at this arm, I guess this is the time, because Jake, I remember earlier this year we were concerned about how much time he would have, how much runway, and he's had plenty of runway. Plenty of time to get things figured out, and I'm just interested to see where's the control going to be in this start. And you'll know inning number one. So I'm excited to watch this game. I know a lot of us in here will be watching because we have an interesting audience where our audience actually watches the game, whereas other podcasts I know are like, okay, well, give me the rundown of how the game went. It's not how our audience is. So we really appreciate you guys. And when you look at these numbers, and I don't know how many people go on MLB.com and they click the names and see how players fare against the starting pitcher that's slated. But when you look at Giolito and you see some guys like Rice, you see Aaron Judge is actually over against Giolito. Interesting.
You mentioned Rosario. He's hitting 412.
Yeah, so when you see these type of numbers, you've got to capitalize on them. And at the very least, fill out your lineup accordingly. That's where the human element comes in. Scratch analytics, scratch all this, whatever that data is. This data really matters. How often have you faced this pitcher? What type of success did you have? These are must-win games. Guy says it's a must-win game 1. I completely agree. you've got to set the tone. If you want to take 2 of 3, you're not trying to walk on the road and lose game 1. That's not how you do it.
No, it's not. If honestly, when is Rosario gonna play? Because if he doesn't play tomorrow, I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I don't know. He played in the 11-1 game. And then before that, he hadn't played since August 31st.
I think he plays tomorrow.
I do too. I'm going to go with that. He should have played today. There's a lefty. I know it was a bullpen game. My bad on that, by the way. I'm normally better about those things.
About what?
Well, we didn't really say it was a bullpen game. We just said he was a lefty.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
He just opened. He was an opener.
Who did?
The guy today.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so that's the thing. But
Well, I didn't even know that.
oh, okay. Well, I'm normally better about that, but
I knew after the fact, but I didn't know, as we saw who was slated, that this was going to be an opener. I mean,
yeah, Holton. All right.
I guess it checks out that we didn't recognize who the hell Holton was. Who is Holton? I did not know
what
who
do you
that
mean
was.
you don't know Holton? Who the hell's Holton?
Who is Holton? No idea who that is.
I want to give a quick shout out, by the way. I like the way,
yeah.
I mean, he got struck out 3 times, but I really like the way Austin Slater looks at the plate.
This is true. I thought you were going somewhere different with this. Reason being, I want to make sure that Steve, YW7IC.
I'm glad you did, because I have it right in front of me and I totally forgot.
It's all good. I got it. Steve, really appreciate the super thanks. For those of you who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, from our videos after we're live, they go up on YouTube and they go into the ether, right? And people can watch them, and people can also leave super chats after the fact. Now, we don't get an opportunity. I mean, I go in there and comment, thank you, of course, but our promise on the show is if you do super, we bring it up on the show. So, Steve, we really appreciate it. And Steve said, when do we hear the whole story about Aaron Judge? Probably the day before his surgery. Shame on the Yankees. I assume we're talking about the elbow injury. AV's arm has looked so weak this year. We all know this ain't the first time the Yankees have pulled this crap. And obviously, I edited that a bit. But no, completely agree, Steve. It's not the first time. It will not be the last until there's a changing of the guard, which we have no control over. We're just 2 jabronis with expensive microphones that cover the Yankees. And we just sit here after the fact and listen to what they tell us. And some reporters push Boone and give him some flack for some of these answers that just haven't made sense over the years. So I appreciate them. I do. I absolutely appreciate them. And then we'll see what happens going into the winter, how the Yankees move with their roster, given some of these phantom injuries or late-term injuries that they just decided to throw into our lap and just digest at a moment's notice. I didn't understand it.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm just hoping, praying Judge isn't going to have one of those Garrett Cole surgeries where it just comes up. That's really it. But really appreciate you, Steve. Anytime anybody leaves a super thanks, we're going to read it on our next episode from that super thanks. So if you're ever interested in doing that, appreciate it. We'll take care of that. Let's get into the super audio chats, shall we? The voicemails.
Oh yeah. How many have we got?
You look so puzzled there. You're like,
no, I'm concerned. How many?
6.
Oh, not bad at all.
I mean, we like a lot of them. It means, this one's a long one from Guy.
Guy gave us a scroll.
The Elder Scroll. All right.
Yeah, this is an Elder Scroll. Get comfortable, everyone.
All right, guys. Kick those feet up.
All right, guys, here's Guy.
All righty then. Let's start with Boone. He is terrible. I am certain, just like we do every day, that some of the players have to be questioning him mentally about his decisions. This is not the anxiety a baseball team needs. The game is hard enough. Shit rolls downhill. mistakes in base running, fielding, and lack of team intensity. Last night, Trent lollygags back to a ball, and the runner tags up from first base easily and gets to second. The baseball IQ that permeates through this entire lineup is just astonishing. We are pretty much the laughingstock in most eyes of the MLB, and it shows. No heart, no fight. Tell me, how does a whole team stay in a slump? Perhaps misleading stats by beating up bad teams? And we waste good starts like Warrens and Rodons in this series. When playing teams like Detroit, Toronto, and Boston, having a real manager does make a difference, and it clearly shows. We are presenting a struggling team like Detroit saying, here's your mojo back, period, because we certainly have given it to them. Since August 17th of 2024, Detroit has a 6-1 record with a plus 33 run differential against our Yankees. And the Tigers are hitting 368 with runners in scoring position.
Well,
why would that change? Tigers are using tonight an opener in Tyler Holton. In 8 relief appearances, he has a 1.46 ERA against us. We'll see what happens early. I do see Cam Schittler bouncing back. Let me say that. Tonight, and thankfully, we shouldn't see Duvall and Leiter. Hopefully. Tonight we have our best relievers available, but how will Boone manage them is the key. Will he be thinking about Boston in his pitching decisions? Excuse me. I had the Tigers sweeping, but we should see several relievers tonight, and hopefully we can hit one. I have the Yankees winning 5-4. If they lose, I see them getting swept in Boston, and a major catastrophic roll happens with our team. All right, I'm out.
That was an Elder Scroll. No, we appreciate you, Guy. That was a lot to digest.
It was entertaining.
It was entertaining, yes, that's for sure.
I did notice that I had the game. Someone asked me just a second ago. They said, "Oh, you watching this Anaheim-Seattle game?" I am. I've got it sitting off to the side, and I took Anaheim today on the upset, and it definitely worked out. But Guy, that actually worked out. Cam Schlittler was money. He was as advertised. He was money. Did everything he had to do. And the Yankees offense was going to have to go out there and score. You can't win without scoring. I understand that everyone says, oh, pitching wins championships, and you got to score. You have to score. Every team who wins a World Series, they don't win the game 1-0, 2-0, and pass the baton to their bullpen and win some pitcher's duel every night. Does it happen from time to time? Do you have to be able to show that wrinkle that you can preserve a 1-2-0 lead? Yes, absolutely. I think all contenders have to be able to give you that flavor, but you can't go out there and give us 3 hits and then the next day give us 2 and then 4. You've got to go swing the damn bat. And so, yeah, to see what the guys did with the bats today was somewhat promising. They're going to have to show it with Boston. That's going to be the big test. I know Boston's not a great team right now. They're not winning a ton. You've got to hold your own and take 2 of 3. Is it my prediction they're going to take 2 of 3? Jake, what was your prediction? I said they were going to take 1 game. I believe you were the same, right?
No, I had 2. I had them losing the first game.
Okay. That's an interesting way to go about it. Losing game 1 and then taking game 2 and 3 is much more difficult way.
We're talking about the Red Sox, right?
We're talking about the Red Sox, yes.
Tigers, I had them. My bad. Tigers, I had them losing game 1, winning the next 2. Boston, okay. I think they win on Friday, and I think they lose the next 2.
Okay. So I have the Yankees in this Giolito start. I have the Yankees, let's see, losing game 3. Okay, so we'll start backwards here. Warren's on the road. He should, in theory, should not be good in game 3. That's just based on how he's been on the road. This is a big game. Will Warren in big games this year has not been good at all.
No, that's a disaster. That is a loss. I have
Game
no
3
confidence in Game 3.
And technically, it's baseball, man.
Yeah.
Technically, it's baseball. We're going to watch it. We're going to hope for the best.
I can
Game
see
3
them
does
winning
not
the
look
first
good.
2. Game 3, they're losing.
I'm going to say they're going to lose. I think Game 1 is our best chance. I'm going to go with Game 1.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to take any games in the series, we win Game 1 and lose Game 2 and 3. But if they lose Game 1, I am very worried about a sweep just because of the state of Game 3. Game 2, I don't feel good about it, but it's all going to come down to, like I said earlier, what they do in Game 1, because if you lose that game, Game 3 looks like a wash. It looks like it's not what you want. So I'm curious to know what other people it's not what you want. Right.
That's so funny.
But appreciate it, guy. Thank you for the voicemail.
Fried versus Bayo is going to be a really good one. I like Warren, but Crochet, I just look at Crochet and I'm like, all right, they're going to score 1 run if they're lucky in 8 innings. They've shown nothing against Crochet. Nothing. So
No.
I just have no confidence in Game 3 on Sunday. And of course, that has to be a night game. Dude, we're going to be podcasting way late. That's going to be so late. Like,
Us staying up late, you don't say.
oh, I know, but I'm looking at that. I'm like, NFL, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Like, dude, that'll be a late show. But no, Saturday. I don't know. I mean, I could. I'm kind of iffy on that, Gary. I don't know if I'm ready to say they win or lose. I think I'm leaning towards they're gonna lose, but I can't put my finger on it. I really trust what I've seen from Fried lately. I think they win tomorrow, though, for sure.
Well, tomorrow's the game. I think they have the best opportunity. So,
Yeah.
must win. Must win Game 1.
All right. Now here's Kyle Malay.
Hey guys, Kyle Malay here. Great win by the Yankees today. We needed this one, definitely. Judge with 2 homers, which was awesome. Cam looked great, and Volpe didn't play. That was great too. But apparently, Volpe has something wrong with his shoulder that he's been playing with for the last 3 months. Why do the Yankees always do this? Like, they always play injured players, like, and they say, "Oh, he's all right," and then 2 months later, he's like, "Oh yeah, he was hurt." But just sit Volpe for the next couple of weeks and let Caballero play, because just let him get better. All right, let's all have a good night, and let's go beat Boston. We need to win at least 2 out of 3, if not sweep. All right, have a good night, and stupid Apple TV game tomorrow night, but we'll see how that goes. All right, have a good night, guys. Go Yankees.
So Kyle, not a fan of the probabilities of home runs every 2 seconds. Noted. I don't know too many people that are.
Sweeping Boston would be quite the development. If we can win that finale, I'd be shocked. But I mean, we've seen crazier things in baseball, but it's all going to come down to you lose Game 1 and Game 2, and then you're like, all right, we're spinning Will Warren on the road, whose ERA is like 5, against Boston with no momentum to be had. We're probably at that point sitting 5 games back in the division. If we were to lose Game 1 and 2, that would be a loss. So you got to win early on in the series.
Swept Boston.
Yep.
That's like taking the monkey off your back and just bludgeoning it with. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just destroy the thing. I think if they were to sweep Boston, they'd go on a tear. I think they could win the World Series. Like, I think I would actually feel like, okay, things are coming together for them. Like, yeah, okay, there's some 2 fluky bad games against the Tigers, but when you look at, the overall implications, that would tell me that they never lost momentum. That's what that tells me.
Well, I think everyone would agree with that. It's just more so about, I guess Apple TV can put up that probability. What's the probability that the Yankees, who get dog walked statistically by Boston, but also they do, just to be fair, and I want everyone who's in here to be fair to the Yankees, they technically get dog walked by the Blue Jays, and they won that series. So there's a glimmer of hope. I know nobody ever wants to talk about that. Like, they don't ever want to give credit in a positive direction. The Yankees still have to go do it. Chris99 says, poor monkey. You do have to, if a team's dominating you, there's no way for us to predict you're going to beat them. You just have to go out and do it. And then we'll clap like seals in the meantime.
I love our community more than anything.
Yeah.
It's just, by the way, I have nothing against monkeys, so I hope PETA doesn't attack us now.
I think, dude, PETA. Whatever. I love going into their comment section on Twitter. It's one of the best times ever. That'll probably be one of our emojis that we drop in for our members is a monkey. So
yeah,
we just thought of it now. Won't be a turtle like 2017, but we'll go with a monkey. Yeah. So Jake, who's next?
Oh man, the Boston monkey. All right, there we go. I think everyone knows what comment we're gonna have everybody drop.
Right.
All right, Ninja Hot Dog, welcome back.
The Yankees did it. They finally won a game. It feels like February 3rd right now. I don't know why they couldn't have done this the last 2 days. They could have just gotten hits and gotten singles and doubles and a couple home runs here and there. That's what they should be doing. So I'm glad to see today. I wish they could do it more, but this is a good sign, I guess. It could be a good symbol for the future, or it could just be a fluke. Who knows? A blind dog finds their bone every once in a while. We need to fire everyone on the medical team. I don't know what the medical team is doing. I swear. They take a guy who stubs their toe and goes, yeah, he's out for 2 months. And then they take a guy who has a really serious injury and they go, yeah, we can play him for like 5 months. And nobody will notice anything is wrong, and he'll play like trash. Happened with Rizzo. Now it's happening for Volpe. I still think they need to get rid of Volpe. He won't recover from this, and even if this didn't happen, he still would have had a terrible bat. So tragic for Volpe. Either way, he should be gone. Either way, everyone on the medical team should be gone. Judge, of course, got another couple stat pad home runs. So good to see.
He hates homers.
He needs to keep hitting those home runs, because the more he doesn't, the more I become pro-Cal. But right now, I'm in favor of Judge. Good win. Hopefully we can at least look alive against Boston. And as always, fire Baboon.
Yeah, okay. So I understand. When Judge hits homers, I'll tell you guys, majority of the time when star players hit home runs, it's not a clutch homer. It's just not. In the grand scheme of the game, it's a home run. The team's winning 1-0, and it feels like stat padding, and I get it. Judge has to show some type of clutch gene, and that's going to come down the road. We're going to cover that. We'll be honest about it. And you're going to see what Aaron Judge is made of in this Boston series. Not an easy matchup. Bello has our number. Crochet has our number. You did see Judge get to Crochet in that final at bat that he had to tie the game at
Boston.
Fenway. Yeah. So we need to see what he's made of. That was a long time ago. And this is the time. If there's a time for Aaron Judge to show up, it's in this series.
Is that the only run they've scored off Crochet?
I'm not sure, but it's the only one I remember.
Pain.
It's not what you want.
You've been killing it with that.
Yeah, and I don't think we got to this super. So Jersey Girl, we really appreciate the two. Thank you for that. Says
Yes.
So 99 is in left for the Sox series. Okay, I guess. Is that what they reported? Was that they're going to put Aaron Judge out there in left field? Because technically speaking, that makes a lot of sense. You have the shorter throw, and they put Manny Ramirez out in left field for that exact reason. It's much easier to accommodate. We had Juan Soto last year. We moved him from a short right field at Yankee Stadium. If we went into Fenway Park, Soto played left field. It worked out. So I don't know if this is something that Jersey Girl saw, but this checks out. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think right field definitely is where I'm going to play Bellinger for sure.
I would agree with that 100%.
Like the whole
Absolutely.
series. Like I'm not, because it's just he has the most range. I that's where I want him.
Can you imagine Stanton out in right field in this series?
Tripping
Someone
over
could
his
hit
own
a-
feet. Yeah.
Someone literally could hit a ball. Oh, so Apex said that Michael K said this. So yeah, so obviously
good.
that's good news.
Yeah,
right field in
we
Boston
like that
is
news.
ginormous. If Stan was in right field and a ball was hit out there, he would just be running forever. He would just be running.
At least it's
And
not
he would never
Colorado.
stop. He would just turn into Forrest Gump.
Can you imagine if Stanton was playing in the field in Colorado?
No, nobody could. Nobody
Oh,
could
man.
imagine it.
That's wild. But we appreciate you, Ninja. Noted, Ninja does not like the medical team of the Yankees.
Does anyone?
Message received. Man, these are
it's
long
actually
today.
technically somebody in the comment section said the audit is continued. I forgot who dropped it in. I meant to screenshot it. I guess the audit that the Yankees were putting on continued into this year, and then they're going to get the results this offseason. Maybe that audit will be part of the. Maybe they'll discover something about their medical team. Who knows?
Who knows? Anyway, we move on to Ed W.
Another
Hey
scroll.
guys, a W back from the game. Well, I had a hockey coach who used to have a great saying after winning the gold in '98 at the Olympics. She said, "I'll celebrate any goal that goes in off my ass, even if it goes in off my ass." Well, I'd say putting up a bullpen game against the Yankees, where they didn't have to work hard to get into the bullpen, is probably the equivalent of putting a goal in off somebody's ass. But I'll take wins because we need wins right now. But I got to commend you, Gary, for last night. I've been beating on this drum forever. The Yankees do not change their approach to score runs with runners in scoring position, but they have made one change, which is that the guys who would usually hit in Volpe's spot, Caballero, was responsible for driving in runs without knocking it out of the park tonight. So
Love it.
give kudos on that. And by the way, I've also been beating this drum about the 13 throwing errors from Anthony Volpe, and sure enough, the guy's got a torn labrum. So, I mean, maybe if the Yankees dealt a little bit with reality more, dealt with what's on the ground, with what we're seeing, there'd be a little bit more success. But tonight, I did not see, beyond that bottom of the lineup, the ability to really get runs without knocking the ball out of the ballpark. It was better today, but it's still not there. And I don't really think this tells us anything about whether we can get through a number one starter, but a number two or a number three starter, to where we don't have to worry about losing to the Jason Wentzes and the Jason Alexanders and all these like mediocre guys that come in and all of a sudden become Sandy Koufax on us if they have a knuckle curveball that can get below the zone. Anyway,
That's so true.
as usual, yesterday was a great show, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts on my comments. Thanks, guys.
So, Jake, the first thing I noticed is because when we talked about this injury from Volpe, we're furious about it. We think and Jake and I, we're basically on the same side of the fence, that it's just negligence one way or the other, no matter what your argument is. Having said that, this injury is to his left shoulder. So I would love for them to tell me, and Jake, you've talked about this for a while, and I agreed with you 100%. His throwing arm has gotten exponentially worse. That's not the shoulder that's injured. So what happened to the arm? I know they talk about he needs to be more aggressive and he needs to charge the baseball and slowly hit ground balls to his backhand. He needs to get around the ball and get some momentum to first base and not catch the ball as flat-footed as he is. Broadcast talks about it. How does your left shoulder, the shoulder with your glove attached to it, how is that affecting your throws? Which, by the way, I couldn't remember who brought it to the surface. One of our members actually brought up a comment, and they said only 3 of his errors this year were fielding errors. The rest were throwing. So what's going on with your throwing arm? No one's talked about what's happening to his throwing arm, because that's actually where the defense has fallen off. But as far as the offense goes, yeah, the shoulder is going to bother you. Your lead shoulder is going to bother you as a hitter. They should have told us earlier. We covered that. But I have no idea, Jake. I don't know if you have an answer as to an angle.
I actually looked
why
this
the
up.
throwing arm. Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was curious. So, like, I looked this up before the show, and I was actually kind of excited for you to read this at some point, or tee me up. But so a torn shoulder, labrum, and your non-throwing arm can decrease your overall arm strength due to the instability and a muscle imbalance. It makes the shoulder feel weaker, and your body, and this is kind of along the lines of what I was talking about,
Right.
may compensate by overusing the other shoulder, potentially leading to more problems.
Okay, so like similar to football, you have a hamstring injury.
Exactly.
You play through it. I think we said that with Grisham, right? He was limping around. He looked like a grandpa for like 3 or 4 weeks playing on that injury, and we were like, "Oh, this could be bad." And thankfully, nothing happened. But they always say if you have an injury and you're playing on an injury, you're just increasing the odds of hurting something else because of compensation. So you're saying this is a compensation issue?
Yes.
Wow.
And that's exactly what I expected. I mean, think about it like this, right? In any sport, you get hurt, you rehab the injury. Mm-hmm. Now everything else is susceptible to getting injured. No one talks about that. They're always worried about the thing that you were rehabbing. Oh, does he re-aggravate this? That's certainly possible. But you have been focusing on one part of your body. You are not perfect. You're a human being. There's a very real possibility that you are going to end up neglecting other parts of your body. Anthony Volpe, keep this in mind. These guys are working out during not just the offseason. They're working out during the season. They got a weight room, right? Anthony Volpe, there's no way this dude is lifting. There's no way.
No,
so he's
not
gone
with
the
a partially
entire
torn
year.
thing. No.
He's likely gone the entire year without lifting, without training. Like, obviously, there's some things that he can do, but there's a lot that he can't. So we're talking squats he can't do. He can't do shoulder press. He probably
Well, if
can't.
you had a partially torn left shoulder,
Yeah.
you were like, well, my right one's fine. Well, if you go to the gym, what are you going to do? If you're going to do shoulder press, you're going to do, 10 reps? And what are you going to do with your left?
Exactly.
None. So
Yeah.
you're technically just working out one side of your body. The other side, as you said, you're managing that injury. So I would agree with you that it can't help you. Like, you're a quarterback in the NFL and you've hurt your left shoulder. That shoulder does this before every throw and is being tucked and pulled. Like, there's a lot going on with the entire body to let go of the ball. So yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah. And Ed, messes up your whole upper cage. And then right here, Guy, I totally agree. Your brain automatically tells you not to throw as hard because you might wince in your left shoulder. It's absolutely true. Very mental, okay? And again, is this me, like, let's be honest here. Is this me defending Volpe? Like,
Nope.
Oh, yeah, like, he's great. No. That's not what I'm doing. I want to focus less about what Volpe's injury could be doing to his overall statistics and his output. Because, I mean, there's no doubt about it. If he wasn't hurt, he'd be better than what he's doing. I think we can all agree on that.
He'd be giving us what we saw in 2024, which was not a good baseball player.
No, he's okay.
225 with some pop and a
Well,
good
no,
glove.
it's about like 243. He'd be hitting 243.
Is that what he hit in year 2?
Yeah, so you would take 243 with some pop,
Right.
and a good glove, right? Well, now he doesn't have a good glove. He doesn't have a good arm. We already knew he didn't have a good arm. The issue is I think, managed it better knowing he didn't have the arm strength. The accuracy was better. This year, it's like he doesn't know what he's doing. I feel like a lot of it's mental. It's definitely mental at the plate. It's all mental at the plate. I'll tell you that right now. It is all mental when he is hitting. But the overcompensation is so obvious because this is the stuff that guys go through, again, with, when you talk about just injuries in general. And now we're talking about a guy who has it during the season. They know this, and he's been playing with it. And guess what? On top of that, he's playing with it, and he's playing like shit. So think about how messed up Anthony Volpe's mental is right now. Because not only is he dealing with an injury that he can't even talk about, and people are asking him, why can't you do this? Why can't you do this? Why can't you do this? And he can't say anything. Not only is he dealing with that, But now he's also playing like dog water, right? So on top of that, it's not like, oh, if he was hurt, like Stanton, for instance. Stanton came back from his injury. There's still people that don't buy that he's going to be able to finish the season, right?
Ooh.
Well, just in general, like you can't play him every day.
Oh, Stanton?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's like, okay.
that could be anybody, right?
It could be literally anyone. Stanton certainly can get hurt. Judge has shown he can get hurt. We don't know.
Stanton's been great, though.
Yeah.
Volpe has not been he hasn't been an eighth of Stanton this year.
Yeah, Tate Confer with the 5 says, do you think Volpe and Stanton have the same shoulder and leg offseason lifting protocol? I'd guess not, considering one looks like Dwayne The Rock Johnson and the other looks like Anthony Volpe. But
I don't know why that made me think of the SpongeBob meme. Like,
we need to bring baseball bodies back, and you can look like the Hulk if you're on steroids, but if you're not, you're just gonna get hurt. You're not agile. If you fall, you're just gonna bust into a million pieces. You're basically Mr. Potato Head.
That's
you run
why
into a wall, you just explode. It's like,
I don't get it with Alejandro Kirk. That dude is totally just out of shape, and
you can't
somehow
pull fat.
He just doesn't. I don't know. He just stays healthy.
I respect it. I'm telling you, you can stay healthy by being not. If you're not ripped, there isn't as much muscle. Now, do you need to be in shape? Yes. You can't just hop up off your couch.
I get what you're saying,
stay healthy,
but I don't respect it. Your body's a temple. I get that, and obviously I've been going through my own transformation and everything. But when you're a professional athlete and you don't give a rippity doodah about your body, that just tells me, like, I just think honestly you're just taking it for granted. Like, and I honestly that I don't respect. But anyway,
it's not going to haunt him because he's going to be living in wherever he wants.
Yep.
For the rest of his life.
It's true.
He never will be tested. Never.
But yeah, you get my point though.
I do. No, because I mean, if we were playing professionals, it's kind of like the idea that you show up as a podcaster and you didn't watch the game. You didn't watch, and I'm sure he prepares.
No, you show up as a podcaster and you got a Blue Yeti.
Oh yeah, Jake's a huge fan of the Blue Yeti microphones.
Hey, I started with it. It literally does such a great job of. It absorbs every single sound, like all over the place. Like if I move this desk here, I just moved it, you didn't hear that. Blue Yeti, boom, 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 boom. Like
yeah, it's definitely a starter's microphone.
It is.
It is. Yeah, it's definitely a starter's mic. And I think somebody asked us how much we paid for our microphones earlier. I think the microphone was like $400, but then you need a cloud lifter.
Yeah, this is $600.
Make it louder.
You don't need a cloud lifter.
Right. So you're basically paying. It's funny because you're just paying for the cloud lifter and they shove it in there. Right.
Don't tell.
quite the investment. But there's a cloud lifter sitting on the floor that's like $200 or $150. Then you need an audio interface that costs you however much. And it's like, by the time you're done paying for everything, it's like $1,000. The Blue Yeti is like $100. You just plug it in USB right into the side of your computer, which is why you see that microphone. So it's whatever you can pay for.
The Rodecaster Pro 2 is probably my favorite purchase I've made in terms of audio equipment.
I was going to say, you've made quite a few purchases of late.
In general, yeah, we won't go there. But yeah, this Rodecaster is a brute. It just is. Yeah.
And also, Tate with the 5 says, would it be possible to take Volpe's legs and surgically attach them to Stanton's lower half? Kind of reminds me of playing the game Operation.
That sounds like a horror movie, man.
Then Alex says, Gary, tell them how much the new camera you want costs. I certainly will. Yeah, I'll go ahead and tell you guys real quick. I'm not going to go on a tangent. I want a Hasselblad X2D Mark II. And for those of you who have no idea what that is, just disregard. It's a camera that with body and lens is going to cost me about $13,000. So the wife is not having any of it. I understand it. It costs about what cars used to cost when they cost what they should. Oh, hell no. Technically you could. I don't do that. But yeah, Alex, Hasselblad X2D Mark II, beautiful camera. You guys have got to start sending my wife messages and be like, it'd be a great investment for Gary. That Hasselblad, the Hassie would be one of the best investments you would ever make. So yeah, Jake, let's get to our next voicemail, and then we'll get to Ness's super chat. Ness, I'm sorry.
So we got Chris 99, and then we got I think that's B-Rye. Yeah. So we got two more.
Perfect.
What's going on, guys? Back after a couple very busy days, so at least I was lucky to be occupied when the first two games happened, so I can kind of brush to the side, but got the dub today. Needed to, didn't want to get swept at home. And, I mean, what can I just say about Cam Slater? I generally feel like the Yankees would really make him the number 3 if the postseason started today. He's definitely the number 3 starter above Luis Gil, above anyone else, and obviously going to be behind Fried and Rodon. He just looks poised out there. As a rookie, you can tell that he's going to be a good pitcher for the next couple of seasons. Like, obviously he got roughed up one game, but a great bounce back against a good team as well. The Tigers came into today with the best record in the American League, so there's that. Obviously Judge with the 2 homers, Stan with a homer, the offense looked great. I really like the games that this team can score without the homer. Obviously they could hit a couple homers. They hit 3, I believe, but they scored a couple runs without hitting homers. There was that one inning where Rice hit a double, Caballero hit a single. It was a great overall inning, so that was good. And now we're 3 games behind. Obviously, the Sox series is huge, and we need to win that. I also wanted to know what you guys thought about the Volpe situation. I know that you guys posted a video I wasn't able to watch for the classes, but what do you think? Obviously, I think it all falls on Volpe for not being responsible. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. I don't know if Volpe's responsible for, and we don't even know if the injury is causing the lack of production, but just wanted to know what you guys think. And big series. Let's go Yankees. Let's go.
Well, Jake,
appreciate it, Chris.
The main thing I took away from that, because obviously we did cover the Volpe thing, but more forward thinking, and I love this question, was why didn't you go get a shortstop at the deadline? Well, it's not just a matter of which shortstop can you go trade for, but also the Yankees have a shortstop, and I hate that I'm even saying this because I'm not trying to sell you guys on it at all. You already know what I think of prospects. Like I'm on Spencer Jones, and I'm excited for it. But after that, like, you guys can miss me with the whole, we've got this kid and we want to clear the way. The Yankees also have to go get a shortstop that doesn't have a ton of years of control where they can move him out the way if a George Lombard Jr. shows up. So that also has to be a solution. I do see in the live chat, so I appreciate you, Vinny, for being in there. Thank you. Says, what do you guys, you guys think we can get Bichette? That's kind of what I'm saying, is that if you go trade for a shortstop, you could be giving up some flexibility into the offseason. And obviously, Toronto wasn't sending you Bichette at the time. So a lot of the options for the Yankees, if they could have traded for a shortstop, would have probably been a defensive guy with 2 or 3 years of control that's low paid. Okay, great. Well, what am I going to do with him when George Lombard Jr. is ready? I just essentially made a trade for nothing. They decided that they wanted to play Anthony Volpe through this injury, if you want to call it minor. It didn't work at all. He regressed to territory we've never seen before, and it sucks. But as far as this offseason, I wouldn't mind Bichette at all. I know that people just hate signing free agents. I don't know why. No one wants Kyle Tucker. Nobody wants Bichette. No one wanted Alex Bregman. Jake, I know you did. And Alex Bregman, sure enough, has been a solid baseball player in Boston. He would have looked really good in pinstripes right about now.
Yeah, I've kind of, I would say I'm out on Bichette just because the defense. I would actually go with Bregman. I would go with Bregman straight up.
I'm perfectly fine with that. I have no problem with it at all. And you're obviously saying Bregman. Guys, when he says Bregman, when I say you go Bichette, this isn't the only thing you do in the offseason. This is just one aspect of it. This is go get
Maybe
Bregman.
They do, but
bring us back Bellinger. You probably don't bring back a Grisham, maybe all 3. You probably pick 2 of those players. But if you bring back a Cody Bellinger, Spencer Jones is being called up, Alex Bregman's your third baseman, you're looking much better than you did this year. So,
yeah. No,
and we're
definitely
not saying Bregman to play shortstop. He's not playing short. it would be to
that's
play
not what I
third
was
base.
saying.
You know,
I
we
was
don't
just
have
saying-
a good third baseman either. We have a good defensive third baseman, not a good third baseman.
You like you're gonna pick one or the other, and for me, if I had because you're not gonna get them both. You're just not. The Yankees won't do that. I would go with Bregman over Bichette. If Bichette played better defense, I would, but I've kind of soured on that a little bit. Wanted to bring your attention to this though. George Lombard Jr. is starting to hit really well.
How long has the sample size been? Like
30
what
games.
are we talking? So what's he done over the 30 games?
So he's hitting 277, a 432 on base percentage, and a 436 slugging. We're starting to see him lift the bat a little bit, you know, but he's also now starting to have, you know, good contact. And he's hitting in his last 10 games, he's actually hitting 329, a 452 on base, and a 526 slugging. This guy might be ready next year. I'm not saying he's going to, but
And this is double A, by the way.
Yes, against the best pitching.
Yep.
Another spring training, and he might be ready. Again, I'm not guaranteeing he is, but the Yankees. This is definitely gonna present an interesting wrinkle here.
Can I ask you a
Volpe-
question about George Lombard Jr. though? This is a big question, and I need it answered. What was the narrative that most Yankees fans were going with? By the time Anthony Volpe's rookie season, wasn't the narrative that they did, in fact, they probably should have sent him back down, that maybe he was called up too early? Well, how does that affect an upcoming rookie in George Lombard Jr.? Because keep in mind, if Lombard Jr. sets it off in spring training, which is certainly possible, right? You're talking about finishing out the season, going into next year, an entire year of training, right? And this isn't Dragon Ball Z. You don't just show up final form, but he will show up and then get a full spring training, make big league camp. And what if he sets it off? Are the Yankees bound to just say, oh yeah, Volpe set it off in spring training, we're going to make the same decision? I think they're going to be a little bit slow with George Lombard Jr. I just do. He's very young. And perhaps they put the bubble wrap on him and call him up, very similar in that situation where you saw Jack Caglione get called up, and you saw him, he was ripping the cover off the ball in spring training, and you're like, oh, why isn't he being called up? Well, they called him up later. Same thing with Roman Anthony in Boston. I think they're going to play it slow. I see potential with what you're telling me, because 30 games is a pretty significant stretch. That's a month, over a month of baseball. That matters. So I'm interested to see what he looks like next year in spring training, what they do with good performance. I see them being conservative, but that's not a problem for me. It's just not. If he's going to be ready in the middle of next year, that is as good as it gets for me.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that I've already kind of accepted it, I know you have, that Anthony Volpe is going to be back, right? I've already accepted it.
I have also accepted it, yes.
So Anthony Volpe being back could actually be beneficial for George Lombard Jr. Here's why. George Lombard Jr. has a great spring training. We were just talking, you just mentioned it. They have now seen what happens when you rush a young shortstop, your number one prospect. You rush him up, right? If Volpe gives him 2 months, right? 2 months, 3 months, around that, George Lombard Jr. is going to play way more than Volpe did in AAA. That's way more than 11 games or whatever Volpe played. I think that's enough. I think right around the deadline, Yankees trade Volpe away. Caballero ends up, being the guy to replace Volpe on the roster, right? Because Caballero just becomes the utility guy. He's the backup.
Right.
And they call up George Lombard Jr. And of course, it'll be at Yankee Stadium, and they'll have a damn ceremony for it. But I'm telling you, this is actually setting up well. And this was why I was monitoring him so much, because I'm like, if he's going to hit 277, but have no power, have no, slugging, I don't know if that's exactly what they had in mind. But now you're telling me, his last 10 games, which is, again, built up from the last 30, he's now slugging a 526. Like, he has an OPS now in the 950 range, 970 range, around that.
I will say, though, calling him up early or just out of spring training, that's not just a recipe for failure. That's just not how it works. It's just not. When I look up, because I do see this, and I think this is a fair way to question really what I've said here. Okay, and Sam in our comment section, so Sam, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. Says, Gary, what about this team makes you think that they've learned anything from their past mistakes? They may play it slow, but not because they should. They'll choose fast or slow at random like usual. So, okay, so the last part there, the conclusion, is really us just being in hindsight, right? If they call up, we don't really give them credit for what happened with Ben Rice. What's happening with Ben Rice is working. Whenever they called him up, this whole situation down the road as it's kicked, it's worked. Ben Rice is now a threat for the Yankees for the foreseeable future. That's great. Anthony Volpe has been an abject failure, just a complete failure. It hasn't worked at all. Not at all. So having said that, I don't just look at Anthony Volpe and say, well, they called him up right away. He really, as Jake, you've mentioned before, he wasn't setting it off in the minor leagues. He had pop, but he wasn't hitting 310, 320. What you see a lot of top prospects doing at the minor league level, he wasn't doing that. But he sets it off in spring training. And they're like, it's been too good. He's got to make the team. Well, George Lombard Jr., his path may be different. He may make the team out of spring training. It may work for him. But all we're saying about Volpe is when you come out of spring training and you're not playing good baseball for, say, a month, there's nothing wrong with sending somebody back and getting reacclimated and coming back to the big leagues. They saw it as a failure right then and there if we do it. It's not the case. It wasn't. So if George Lombard Jr. rakes, you want to call him up, go ahead and do that. If you think he can help this team, especially with the glove, with the contact, I'm not concerned with the bat. It's not with the bat, with the pop. I don't need power. Does it need to show up at some point in your career? Yes, absolutely. But part of the reason Bo Bichette is an attractive offensive option isn't because of the power. He went 2 months this year without hitting a single home run. His value is that you look up and you see a batting average that starts with a 3 or something close to it. Is he's a contact bat. So I'm not going to look at George Lombard Jr., expect him to field, have a great arm, be able to run the bases, have power, hit for average. Well, then that's Alex Rodriguez, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I'm trying to be realistic with these guys.
Yeah, no, I think George Lombard Jr., if he hits 270 in the MLB and his on-base percentage is in the 330 to 350 range, we'll take that all day, especially with that glove. I don't need him to have a 900 OPS. I don't need him to hit 30 or 40 bombs. You know, I think he's probably got 20 home run power. The way I see it is this, and this is probably what they look at him as. Does he maybe hit 30 home runs someday if he really develops? Sure. Like, that's certainly possible. You've seen the ability. He doesn't do it all the time, but like when he gets a hold of one, you're like, oh, it's like Brett Gardner level, like where you're like, oh, wow, he really can hit home runs.
He got into it. Not everybody has to develop into having power. There's nothing wrong with not hitting for power. Like,
exactly.
If we had Ichiro Suzuki in our system, would we cover him as, oh, the pop will develop as he gets older if he was 20 years old? No, it won't. And there's nothing wrong with it because of the style that he plays. I think that the Yankees have to start looking at their prospects in that way, where they look at a Spencer Jones and say, well, he could hit 40 homers. And then they looked at Volpe and said, first thing out their mouth was, he's got 30 homer pop. Why is that the first thing you're talking about?
No, I completely,
you know what I mean?
Completely agree.
The power is so overrated in today's game. I don't really think it has not nearly as much impact as what people think. You just watch Toronto play us all year long and beat us relatively without a power game to even speak of. They have power hitters, but there's only maybe a couple of them, and they beat the brakes off of us. So I see value in George Lombard Jr. hopefully doing well what he's doing well now, which is hitting for contact. It'll suffice to be a good fielder, have a strong arm at the most important defensive position at shortstop, and hit for contact. If that happens, I will not complain. Just give me those. I'll take it.
This is how you recover from a bust. This is how you recover, okay? You can just sign anybody. We talk about this all the time. The Yankees don't do that. This is how you recover from a bust. George Lombard Jr. is very similar to what they wanted Anthony Volpe to be. right? He just doesn't have as much power. But guess what? He is astronomically better in the field than Anthony Volpe was. His arm is insane. Have you seen his arm?
Yeah, I have. I've seen it.
It's insane. Like, we're talking the Jeter jump throw from third base, going away from his body and getting it to the first baseman without a hop.
He has tools. And
yes,
you need to see that from a prospect, because that's what all prospects really are. They haven't done anything. No matter which prospect they are and what year in history, you've never done anything in baseball until you get here. What do you do with those tools, right? You could look like Cruz in Pittsburgh, or you can look like Ellie De La Cruz. Things can, with tools, different. You can get different outcomes. And I want to get to our supers real quick, and I think we have a final voicemail.
We do.
And I want to get, did we get to this? The Yanks want to be right, then making it right with Ness with the 5?
No,
the Yanks
we
want to
left
be
off
right
on this.
rather than making it right. Why not get a shortstop at the deadline? So we did answer that partially because
we did.
It would force you. Yeah, it would just force you to go get a player who's got control. So we'll get to, oh God. So Tate, thank you for the 5. Says, can you take your new camera and use it as an MRI for Stanton's dry rotted quads? This is unreal. So I did see someone in the comments who are like, Gary, I'm with your wife. This is not a good purchase, because how is this camera, like, I think they said something along the lines of, how's it going to help your podcast? And I was like, no, this is just a still camera, a still photo camera. This is not video. This is the best video camera money can buy. So we, don't need a new video camera. So appreciate it, Tate. And Ness with the 5 says, we need a first base and third base in the offseason. Do you see any chances we bring back Belly, Grisham, Tucker, Belly to play first? So mind you guys, if this was like a George Steinbrenner type team, yeah, those are options. Like, people look at Kyle Tucker as they're thinking of risk. What's the deal going to look like 5 years from now? Yankees fans have turned into money managers. It's because, and mind you, Kyle Tucker is a all-time great player. And no one would have had a remix to that 3 months into the season when he was setting it off with CPA in Chicago. Everyone's like, man, that would have looked great in our lineup. He's got defense, he's got arm, he can run, he's got it all. And so do I see a world where they go get Bellinger and Grisham and Tucker? And mind you, it would be Bellinger, Tucker. Okay, if that offseason were to happen, it would be those two.
Mm-hmm.
No. It's unfortunate that we can't have those level of expectations. Some Yankees fans have been conditioned into being realistic. That's the terminology that they like to use. We've got a budget. And technically, under that budget, you're not going to be able to bring in a Bellinger and a Tucker, because you're talking about not $600 million or whatever the numbers they float around. You're talking about what Jake talks about. What are you paid annually? Cody Bellinger will make about $25 million next year. Kyle Tucker will probably make about $40. So you combine those numbers and you get a number. Can the Yankees fit those numbers into next year's budget? Not while fixing a bullpen, right? Not while doing that. So that's the problem with having a budget. So no, I don't see any world where they have a 2008-2009 offseason where you guys are just thrilled to come to spring training and see the new players. No, it's probably going to look something like Cody Bellinger. They'll most likely let Trent Grisham walk. And then Kyle Tucker will just go to the Dodgers. And that'll be that.
He'll go to the Mets.
I predict he will go to the Dodgers. Reason being is because Michael Conforto is one of the worst baseball players you've ever seen this year. He will be gone on a 1-year deal. Soto, actually, they were trying to get Juan Soto, as crazy as that is. I don't understand how that's possible. But
they were just having fun. They were just having fun.
Fun.
They were never serious. They offered him a contract, and it was a lot, but they knew it wasn't going to. I don't know. It's like the guy in, I don't know if you ever done like a league, fantasy draft, but it's the bids. Have you ever done like an auction?
I have.
Yeah. Are you the asshole like I am that like, I don't want this player and I'll just keep bidding it up?
No, I don't do that. And by the way, Guy asked, how about staying with the Cubs? The Chicago Cubs have never, not even a singular time, spent nearly the amount of money that we're talking about.
They're not doing that.
The Dodgers have. The two teams that we've mentioned have. Now, could they technically? Yeah, they could. There's a first for everything. But if you want me to predict that the Cubs are going to go out there and spend, let's say $450 million to go get a Kyle Tucker, $40 million a year, they've never done it. I'm going to predict they don't do it again. So, and I would believe the Mets would go get a Kyle
Toronto will
Tucker.
offer him the most money and he'll turn it down.
Yeah, perhaps. But the Mets also went and signed Juan Soto, and then they're like, oh, they're going to go after the next guy. Remember, that was all the reports. They're like, they're going to get him. They're going to get that guy. They're going to get him. They ended up just getting Soto, and that was their offseason. They didn't go get starting
why
pitching.
I think it was because they realized, oh, yeah, Kyle Tucker will be in play next year. You know, Scooble's
I don't think they're nearly
that.
I don't think they're nearly that smart.
Well, I hope
they
you're
made
right.
Clay Holmes a starting pitcher this year.
I know. I don't like the Mets.
The
at
Mets
all.
are stupid. They're like one of the dumbest organizations in baseball.
That's what happens.
Clay Holmes is a
fan
starter.
as the owner.
Terrible. Right. So you give them too much credit. That's a smart plan that you've got for the Mets. So maybe you should be the GM over there.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll tell you right now, I never would have traded for Seti Mullins, and I've always been a fan of his, but you could just tell he was hitting a wall, and they traded for him at the quite literal worst time to ever trade for him.
Yep. Yeah, and I agree. The Mets do need pitching, and we have one final voicemail, I believe, to get to.
Yeah.
Let's roll.
And by the way, I'm kind of 50-50 on Grisham. I want him back. I think the Yankees could bring him back. I do think it's possible. I will say, I've been very clear about this. Zero. There's a 0% chance they end up with Kyle Tucker. I don't see it.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be Bellinger. No Tucker because they're going to say that it's too expensive. And
I'm going to say we got Ryan McMahon, so we're good.
No, I think Trent Grisham also will be gone.
I think he'll be back. I think Bellinger will be back. And I think they run it back with almost the same exact roster, and they just focus on the bullpen. And they might make a trade. Maybe they go... See, that's the thing. Like, I don't know where they are on Jazz. Are they... Right now, would they sign him to a long-term deal? I don't know.
It's 30-30, bro. What do you mean? Grish will be gone because they're going to see it as an outlier season. He's been great, and you take it when it comes. He's going to get his payday somewhere. It could be with us. I mean, technically, we've seen it happen. They paid Aaron Hicks for doing much less.
Oh, yeah, that was awful. I could not stand Aaron Hicks. Just terrible, terrible move. I don't know what's worse, that or... No, Gallo is definitely worse.
He's on a golf course somewhere tomorrow.
Do you know which golf course? Like, is that what you were saying?
No, he's just golfing every day with millions of dollars that we just...
Oh, gotcha.
We just paid him for one, actually, good year in New York, and we just paid ever since.
This is the last year they're paying him, so maybe we'll throw a party over it. All right, to wrap us up, here's B-Rye.
Cool.
Hey, fellas. How you doing? Glad they got a nice win today. Judge, nice game. 2 homers. Stan with a homer as well. I think the offense obviously exposed. The Tigers going with an opener. Feel like the Tigers did kind of, in a way, throw this game, resting Scooble. So it's a little bit of a hollow win, but a win is a win, so definitely take it for sure. Big series coming up. Definitely looking for them to take 2 out of 3. That would be huge. Definitely would really set them up for down the stretch. I'm hoping Luis has a nice first game to start. I'm looking for them to take the first 2 games of the series, so I'm hoping they take the first 2. No pressure going to the 3rd game, but we'll see. And just lastly, in closing, I just don't understand the logic in why they hid the Volpe injury all year. What was the reason why? Like, that would, fans would understand if you convey to them that the guy is not healthy. They would have maybe a little bit, hey, maybe that's why he's throwing the ball not as good as he has in the past. Anyway, a bit more frustrating. I don't really put that entirely on Boone. That's coming from up top. So, believe me, I take all the chances I can to bash Boone, but that won't be the one. Anywho, appreciate you guys. Hope you have a good night. J-Dom for life. Boom Cesar.
Well, we appreciate you, B-Y. Always in the chat, so we appreciate you. And now, we have a voice to the name. Although this isn't your first time doing a voicemail. But, yeah, I mean, J-Dom for life.
Interesting hill to be on. Because there aren't many people. He's not really a topic of conversation anymore. He's really not. People don't really ask about him. They don't talk about his role. Well,
it's tough.
You have to be better at baseball. You have to be able to field your position. And if you can't field,
sucks.
You can't play.
This is what sucks because he's one of the best 9 hitters.
Yeah.
But that's baseball. Like, you have to have a shortstop. You have to have a third baseman, right? You only get 1 DH. You imagine what would happen? Who would actually be the best team in the league if you could designate 9 fielders and 9 hitters?
Us.
You think so?
Yeah, because we have like 4 DHs on our team. You don't notice this? Aaron Judge should be DHing. He shouldn't be playing freaking right field. Are you joking me? I don't care how good he is at right field. Because people are like, no, you should never DH a player who's good at defense. Well, you do when he's 6'7", and if he gets hurt and misses 3 weeks, you probably go 0-40. So my thing is, I would like Judge to be DHing as soon as next year, or playing first base, like basically getting out of harm's way so that I can prioritize the bat only. Giancarlo Stanton obviously is a DH. Jason Dominguez is a DH. Some people think that he would just be fixed if they put him in center field where he was developed, but just because you played somewhere in the minor leagues doesn't mean you are a finished product at that position. It doesn't mean actually anything. David Ortiz played first base in spring training early in his career. Is he a polished first baseman? No. He was so bad at it that they decided he's going to DH because he rakes and will protect him. And they did that. So, yeah, Jason Dominguez, I see people saying he needs to play right field. It would be the best situation for him. Certainly.
Not foolproof, though.
But guess what? No, this isn't honestly not even a good choice, because if Jason Dominguez plays right field, where's Judge playing? He played center field last year. He was not good at it. You put him in left field, even tougher assignment at Yankee Stadium, he plays even worse. So that's not an option. I'm sorry. It's just not.
I told you. I mean, it sounds crazy, but this offseason, this dude's going to have to learn. He's going to have to learn an infield position, or I think he gets traded. I mean, I don't really think there's a doubt in my mind he's going to get traded.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I do think Dominguez will be traded, because people always think, well, why would you trade away a player who's got talent? Well, that's not how the trade market works. You trade away a player who's got talent, presumably to a team who's like, we have an open spot in left field. Like, for example, the Dodgers, we're not going to probably trade him to the Dodgers, but you guys get the point here. The Dodgers just don't have a left fielder next year. They just don't have one. So if you bring in a player like Jason Dominguez, well, yeah, you can go out to left field. But the Yankees have Spencer Jones, who they're high on. They didn't trade him away. You have presumably a Cody Bellinger. If you bring him back, you've got Judge out there. Some people want Trent Grisham back. Well, he could be in the mix. Well, you just said maybe you can try to put on an infielder's glove. Just the attempt. There's not really anywhere for him to play in there either. He's not going to play third base. He's not playing second base. Unless they trade Jazz Chisholm away, they're not going to put him at second. He's most likely traded. You're going to keep your top prospect as a depth piece in the outfield? I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't Jose Contreras like a top prospect? Thought he was.
Yeah, probably. I mean, most guys are.
He got traded for... It's not the same, right? It's not the same as Jason, because he got traded for Esteban Loaiza, and I don't feel like the Yankees would trade Jason for another outfielder. Mm-hmm. But it is kind of that like idea, actually a really good idea, because the Yankees felt they were good at catcher, but they had a really good value in this catcher, and they traded why is his name escaping me right now? They traded him for Michael Pineda.
Right, but we've traded much better players away. It's just provided what you're getting. We traded Alfonso Soriano. And people are like, well, no, duh. Look what you got. Right.
But that was because of A-Rod. That wasn't like
No,
you
I
have
understand.
a surplus. You know what I mean?
I completely understand where you're getting
Yeah.
at. Different reasons that you're making the trade. It's either a surplus or you're just getting a superior player. But having said this, just because a guy's a good baseball player doesn't mean you don't trade him. You've got to look at your roster and say, is my team getting better? Do we have a spot for the guy who we're trading? Do we have a spot for you? Do we just have an open position? If we don't, and your role is a fourth outfielder for the team? He's
Melky
a fourth
Cabrera.
outfielder right now. Right. That's not valuable to the team. It's just not.
Yeah. No, it sucks. Did we touch on this?
So big picture guys with the 2, we did not. Says with the lockout looming, many guys won't get the bag. This is definitely a factor. It is. It's a factor. The players will be aware of it. Some players will be in a rush to just get their deal out the way and just say, hey, I know this lockout may be here. I want to ink this right now just in case of what happens down the road. But that will be interesting. Just how that shakes out. They tell us every year, every single year, this is going to be mayhem. As soon as we go to winter meetings, and you go to winter meetings, and sometimes it's mayhem. Other times we're like, what rule can we force where they have to sign? Don't you feel that way, Jake? You go to winter meetings, it's like, why are we meeting if you guys aren't going to make any deals? We're wasting time.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
It's definitely not the NBA where it's like, the clock strikes midnight, although I think they changed it this year. It was like 4 p.m. And your phone blows up. It's like Shams and not Adrian Wojnarowski. I think Woj retired, but
He did.
You know
but
what I
also
mean.
nothing can happen, technically. You can just go to winter meetings and not sign. Nothing. You can go into January
yeah.
and sign a big you know who did? Bryce Harper. Blake Snell, all these different players, they'll go to spring training and miss preparation days. And they're like, oh, by the way, I just inked a deal. Congratulations to me. Let's go do a press conference. I'm like, you should have done this in December.
Oh,
You
yeah.
kidding me? Let's put some rules in place. So really appreciate big picture, guys. Thank you for the super. Anything else? I think we covered absolutely everything, to be honest. We've gone on 2 hours and 16 minutes. So this has been a Quentin Tarantino film.
I was just going to... yes. No, we covered everything. Guys, really appreciate you. Appreciate everybody that stuck by us from yesterday, today, is subscribed. If you know, you know, but we do appreciate the support, and we're not going anywhere. So, we appreciate you. I'll just say this. The comment, type monkey, or if you want to use the emoji with the hammer,
I prefer the emoji. The emoji of a monkey. If you've got your phone, if you
With
got
the
your
hammer.
computer or an Apple computer, you can get that done. I don't know really how to do emojis on the computer, but if you can drop the emoji of a monkey in the comment section, that would be awesome. If you have not subscribed to Yankees Unloaded, please do. And share us out if you guys could. Word of mouth is also the best way for us to grow. And of course, Jake, drop a monkey in the comments.
Shout out to Welk and Gunther for
Welkin started that, right?
starting the monkey with the hammer. So
Gotta love that.
That
and please
is-
be sure, guys, to like the videos. It helps the channel out a ton. Throw him up on screen. And welcome to the mod community, my man. Yeah,
well deserved.
like the video. Yeah, like the
Like
video
it.
as Jake does when we leave. Like the video.